ChaoticCrafterZero. Maddie's here too. She's just in the back. She's here. She's just here. So she's been doing good. She's been having some tests at school, so she's been really busy with studying pharmacology, anatomy. You know, we're talking doctorate level classes here, so it ain't easy. Yeah, count me out. But either way, I've been okay, hanging out, still building stuff. I haven't painted anything in a while. My desk is almost clear of all painting utensils. So, hey, Forever Alert 2, Magnus, good to see you too. Hi, everybody. Hey, hey. Yo, 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 what's up? So, but everything here is just working on all my minis and building a little army, magnetizing the bases or getting them primed. Some of them might be sub-assembled, and that's fine too. Neo said, I swear Travis just had a beard. Yeah, I shaved it this morning, so. What's up? Yeah.
More than I do.
Well, I don't know. Neo said, what's up, everyone? We're doing good, man. Everything's fine. Yes, I did. I sent everybody their tracking numbers. All your books are out, by the way. So the ones that are going to the free book giveaway for everybody in my Discord, those books are on their way. I also sent all of you your tracking information. I know WC's not in here, but he's aware of it. So I reached out to each of you respectively, and you'll be having your books coming shortly. So I hope you really do enjoy those, and you know, read them eventually. You don't have to tear into them right away. But if it's a book that you're really looking forward to, like, you know, it's there for you. I got a backlog of a lot of things, but then that's good for me because then on the slow days I can crack them open and start working on them. You know, so it's like my own little treasure chest that I have full of stuff, little hobbies I could do indoors or projects I want to work on or continue working on. Even on the slow days, I always have something to keep me occupied. So, or if I just want to chill out and not do anything, I don't have to do anything, and that's cool too. So, but usually every day I'm working something on my Warhammer. I know I don't go live all the time, but I'm usually working on my stuff and just trying to get it closer, you know. So I've been working on the Rhino. Many of you probably saw my shorts. So the Rhino is just about built. I did add battle damage to it. I used a couple tools to do it, mainly the X-Acto, just to get some good scrapes and cuts, like cutting, notching things out on top and the bottom, all around the chassis. And then I also used a little drill to make little bullet impacts, right? And then I'll probably be making bigger impacts along it for different weapons and stuff like that, and get some afterburn effects, maybe like a plasma hit on it or something. That'll be kind of cool. And there's also more I want to do to this, like add skulls, chains, the normal, make it a little bit more grisly and just you know, Black Legion-esque. So it's gonna be a while until I finish this, but it's at a pretty good stopping point. And I got to figure out what I want to do for the turrets too, and how I'm going to magnetize them and everything like that. So, but I'm really happy with how this came out. And it was really actually a lot easier to build than I thought. The only tricky parts were the tracks. You just got to make sure they're in the right orientation. So do one track at a time. Don't clip it out and do all of it at once, because holy crap, you're going to be like, I didn't do that. But just something to think about, because there are different sections that are different sizes, and once you clip them out, it's kind of hard to tell which one's which, so it's like a puzzle piece. So don't do that to yourself. One track at a time. All right, let's go to the chat, see what's going on. Magnus, you're very welcome for the book, my man. Blood Ravens, the entire omnibus. So I have not read that. Please let me know what you think of it. I actually saw something about Blood Ravens, like a meme, and it was like a Blood Raven in a trench coat, and he had it open with a bunch of like relics in there, and he's like, "Look what I stole!" Like, I don't know if that's like a Blood Angels thing, or because I know there's like the memes is that they steal everything. I don't know. I have yet to read any Blood Angels books, but I do want to read Devastation of Baal for sure. That's definitely on the top 10 list. And then Neo said, yeah, thanks, Travis, again. I'll have something to read in university between classes. You're very welcome, Neo. Yeah, that's a good book for you to have, man. And it's not a thick book either, so it's... I don't know how familiar you are with the setting. So it's not book number 1. It's not book number 3. It's kind of in the middle. But, you know, sometimes they do a good job where you could just jump right into a book and you're like, yeah, this is fine. You know, as long as you know the setting well enough or, you know. And then LED said, rawr. Forever Lurk T said, rawr, rawr. And then Magnus said, do you know when WC goes live? I don't. I do not. I know he has gone live for a couple. We're going to have to check with his schedule to see when he does it, because then we could jump into there and see how his lives are. And Magnus said, yeah, the Blood Ravens meme is that they steal everything. Ah, okay, gotcha. That's how it is. We got 11 people in here. Welcome, welcome. I'm Travis. This is the ChaoticCrafterZero. I do a lot of 40K related hobby stuff here. So, you know, I build stuff like this. I paint them up. And then you use them in a wargaming game called 40K, made by Games Workshop. So, I do a lot of things, but this is kind of my niche. So if you wouldn't mind thumbsing up, liking this video, subscribing, please. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. That's the main thing, is I'm just trying to get up there and just make my own into this YouTube universe that it is, because I want to be a YouTuber too, right? So like hobby side, lore side, and then just meeting with other people, like building a community. So, and then Neo said, Travis, did you see the thing I posted in general? I did not, but I do see, I do get notifications in there. I'll have to pop it open and take a look at it on my laptop. I could totally do that. And then Magnus said the meme originated from Dawn of War 2, as they had some crazy weapons that made no sense for them to own. Oh, according to some guy on Reddit. Okay, so it's like they have like fucking weapons from the Eldari, and they have like fucking like weapons from the Tau, or it's like, how do you have this? It doesn't make any sense. Well, there you go. That's funny. That's, yeah, he was like in a trench cloak, like he was like selling things, you know, and he had like his coat open, and he was like, what are you looking for, stranger? I got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. That makes sense for that meme. Forever Lurk 2 said, I once had a buddy that ran an Adeptus list. Nice, dude. Yeah. Adeptus Mechanicus are fucking badass. He had a bunch of Land Raiders and Rhinos. He went so far as to build secondary duplicates of his whole army, but broken to be placed on the table when lost. Wow. That is a lot of commitment to the craft. I have seen that. Other people, they put like, you know, the cotton balls on top to make it look like smoke, like it's burning. So I've seen that used a lot, like Play on Tabletop. They're up in Canada, but they do a lot of, oh gosh, battle reports, if you will. But it's more fun, and they also have 3D printed battle effects that, you know, make it look like it's blowing up when it does, which is kind of fun. But having a 1-for-1 with every tank that you have, that is dedication right there. Yeah, that is a man that knows he's got it all figured out. So good for him, man. That's crazy. That's impressive. Yeah. So every Rhino and Land Raider that he utilized, that's cool. LED said, here comes the messenger. Black Crow on a tombstone found, breaker of dark days. Damn, that's a badass lyric. What is that to? Reneville, hey, what's up, dude? Forever Lurk said, hi-yas. Magnus said, sup, Ren. Reneville said, just building a new mini for a contest. Oh, that's cool. How are you guys? We are doing very good. Magnus said, what mini are you making? Danny O'Clips Shape said, look at this, American flag and an eagle. Yes, that is indeed freedom, yes. And then Reneville said an Arjack Rockfist. Okay. Yeah, he's, so Yeah, Reneville is very, very good at painting. I am very glad to have him in the Discord so everybody can view his work. Yeah, he's got the Lizard Men, so Age of Sigmar style, I believe. I think they're a faction of Age of Sigmar. Forgive me if they're not. I know they're not Oldhammer, that's for sure, so they have to be Age of Sigmar. But yeah, they got some really cool minis. So it's all Lizard Men, very dinosaur looking, but like fantasy driven. I got a question, Reneville. Are the Lizard Men, are they Tzeentch worshippers, or do they have their own like gods or deities? I'm not too familiar with their lore. Every time I look at them, I think old ones, but like that's too on the nose. You know what I mean? So, and then Danny Eclipse Shape said, "Look again." Thanks, bot. Okay. And then Reneville said no clue, but he was at the store since they didn't have the Tech Marine I was looking for. These are not the Tech Marines you're looking for. That's right, you were looking for that. Also, did you guys see the new GW drop with the, what are they called, the Mutilators? The new melee-focused obliterators for Chaos Space Marines. So, and then Pizza just went off, so Maddie, you got it? Or want me to handle it?
I'll take it out, but you can cut it.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, so just gotta make sure we're getting fed tonight, you know. I ate a little bit earlier, so I'm okay. If you're wondering what my shirt is, it's a kind of a funny one, but like on the back. It says be nice or else. Which is stupid. So I just thought it was kind of a badass shirt and I picked it up. Who's this from? I can't remember where I got it from. I think it was like I can't some store. I'd have to figure it out later, but I just thought it was a fun shirt and I like wearing it. So it's like a lot of people have like the hardcore, you know, tough guy shirts, and it's just funny because it says be nice or else. It's stupid. LED said get some meat on your bones, son. Reneville said yeah, but that Crocs, like crocodile, belongs to my brother. He loves to build, not paint. Oh, okay. Good to know. And then Danny Eclipse Shape is just on one with 4th of July. An American Patriot bot? Is that... I've never heard of that one, Forever Lurk 2. Have you ever heard of a Patriot bot? Like a MAGA bot? What is that? That's funny. You say like certain keywords and it like responds. 9/11. What does that do? We'll see. Trump for president. Let's see if it responds to that, right? Hillary Clinton. It just starts like fucking exploding. Does not compute. Magna said the Chaos Mutilators, or however they spelt it, looks so sweet. They do, man. It's a nice new plastic design from GW. I'm happy with that. Neo said Lizard Men worship the old ones. Makes sense. Makes sense. And then there's no 40K equivalent, really. I know with the new Corsairs, what are they called? Masters of... Is it Masters of the Warp? Or no. It's with Huron Blackheart. But like his like cohort, there's like a lizard that's on him, his little lizard, that's part of the lore, and then he has like a part of his retinue, he has like this Crocs looking character, but it's all like modded out with bionics. So I don't know what that's supposed to be. But it would be interesting to see Lizard Men in the 40K universe. Skaven would be fucking cool too, but I'm a big Skaven lover, personally. I think they're fucking sweet, so... I like the bad guys, right? But they're not like chaos. They're like different. They're their own thing, you know? But I think the Skaven are cool. Yeah, the mutilators look pretty dope. They do need. I don't think they're grim dark enough, so I want to see what other, like if they have different heads that you can choose or like different weapons, like different oh, what's the word for it? It's like not a chaotic weapon, but there's a name for them where they're just melee based. Like possessed have their own. Oh, I can't remember what it's called for the life of me, but oh well. And then Forever Lurk 2 said I had to spend 1.5 hours waiting in a super cold room for my dog to see the vet. Looked at my dog for 10 minutes and charged me $700. She just did a bunch of shots, but still, oh my god, dude. Yeah. Yeah, vets are, yeah, it's hard to find a good one. Or one that makes sense. That and they just charge a lot for it, and I get it. There's a lot to, it's still a business at the end of the day. So hopefully it's a good vet and they take good care of your dog. So that's what everybody wants, right? You never know. It's like every doctor, even a doctor, you go to see a doctor, man, I have had many bad doctors. I've had a couple good ones, very few good ones. And usually when I meet the really good ones, they're like, oh, I'm about to retire. I'm like, fuck, you know, or they're like, oh, I'm transferring. I'm like, of course you are, you know. Yeah, if you find a good doctor in life, hold on to them. Not every doctor is good. So you'll learn that in life, and you're going to be like, how are these doctors still able to practice? And like, hey, your guess is as good as mine, man. They kind of have it, you know, the system needs an audit. That's all I got to say. All right, let's go back to chat here. Yeah, Magna said, yeah, doctors do suck sometimes. Yep. Okay, so Danny, the Patriot bot said 4th of July is the Independence Day of the USA. Yeah, I think I broke it. Reneville said the NIDS are their polar opposites. Interesting. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. And then Neo said, no, not really, but I want to kit bash Lizardmen in 40k with badass laser guns. Hell yeah. The Dog Soldier, that's what it is. The Dog Soldier, yes. And then Orcs in 40k, Oruks and Orcs in Fantasy. Makes sense. And then LED said, walk the plank soon with your life. You'll pay the price. Walk the plank, boots of lead. Your blood runs red. Thank you, Ellie. And then Forever Lord 2 said, doctors are like teachers. A good or a bad one can change your life. Yeah, absolutely, dude. 1000%. That's a good quote. Yep. Because I've had doctors that look me over and they're like, yeah, you're fine. And then I have another doctor look me over and go, why did no one tell you about this? And I was like, what? So you don't really know what you don't know. But yeah, it's not a healthcare channel, but you know, it's just everyone's going to have healthcare problems sometime in their life. And if it isn't them, it's someone they know or someone they love. So it's good to educate yourself on the basics of it. And if you don't think you're getting adequate care, you got to freaking, you got to stand up for yourself, right? So advocate for yourself, as they say. But, yeah. I think a lot of Americans, I don't know, did they ever teach classes in like junior high about like health and how health insurance works or any of that shit? I know they do like sex ed and, you know, like you learn about the body and you learn a little bit about that, but they don't really talk about like, I don't know. Maybe we do and I just didn't pay attention, but I remember learning about like cancer and like all the epidemics that have happened in the world, minus, you know, fucking CV-19 because that shit didn't exist back when I was a kid, or it wasn't as dangerous or whatever. But yeah, it's good to learn about the healthcare system, especially in America. It is so complicated here. It's horrible. Man, there's like foreigners that come here and they have to try to navigate our fucking government system and our healthcare system, and I'm like, you start getting the bills, they start adding up. Good God, is it? Yeah. It's a weird world we live in, huh? Not to mention insurance and ugh. Adulting hard. Oh, man. Magnus said, can you do Alice in Chains, the song Wood? Yep. LED said, oh, I am dumb. You're not dumb, Ellie. No, you're not. You just don't know. It's a song called Wood. So I wish I could play that while I'm on live, but I'll get freaking copyright stricken. And if you get, I think it's 3, you get kicked out. Like you lose your channel and shit. So it's stupid. Or I could just not publish it. Like I could do that, like do a live, but not publish it. And then just have music in the background, you know? So I just can't publish it, so it'll have to be private or I just delete it. But I've seen some people do that, you know? Right now I'm just working on the exhaust stacks that are going with the Rhino here. So I gotta see how they connect. It looks like it just connects like that. Yep. So right there on the side, and I got 4 of them I gotta do. The Rhino's an APC, if you didn't know, so it's a personnel carrier. Still technically a tank, but I mean, it's pretty tiny too. I thought it'd be a lot bigger, but it's a good size for tabletop. It's just kind of a little bit smaller than I was hoping it would be. I was hoping it would be like a little bit bigger, but this is fine. You know, it's scaled down. It's meant to represent a real size Rhino, which, I mean, here's a Space Marine. Here's the Rhino. I mean, he could barely fit in this thing. Especially with his like spikes on the back there, so he'd have to like bend over the whole time while this thing's going. Whatever. Well, I guess it has this. I could do this. There you go. It just rolls like that. Hey guys, just ready to murder. And he has to like climb over the top. Oh, God. Sit on it like a bench, I guess. Yeah, Forever Lord 2 said I was a PE teacher for a short bit in my life. Oh, that's good to know. That's kind of cool. The looks on a second grade's face when you explain lactic acid, yeah, is priceless. They're like, what? What is lactic acid, you know? It sounds crazy. It's like, what the heck? And then Magnus said, sucks how people have to pay to go to the doctor. Yeah, I agree. And then Magnus said, healthcare is a right, not something you can't afford. Yeah. If you got a lot of money, you can get seen a lot faster. You know, you got to spend a lot. Don't get that wrong. You got to spend a lot. But if you want better care, it does help to be wealthy. I think the number one thing everybody should do is take care of themselves. And then you don't have to worry about doctors as much, ideally. Right? So, easier said than done. We're all getting older, and especially if you have bad genetics, like, you're super cursed. You know, that fucking sucks. I got some genetics myself that I'm not looking forward to having. So, yeah, like arthritis. Yeah, not looking forward to that. So, I'm already a little beat up from the military, but. And Magnus said, joke's on you. We don't have a president. Yeah, you guys have your prime minister, I suppose. It's basically like a president, but. Forever Lord 2 said king. I think they're in a heli. And then LED said, know me, broken by my master, teach thee on child, love of hereafter, into the flood again. Same old trip it was back then. That is Alice in Chains. Yep. Yeah. Some deep lyrics. Very good. Magnus said we got a prime minister. Yup. Neo said peekaboo. Ah, Space Marine. I know, right? Like, literally, like, imagine this just, like, rolling through war, and there's, like, humans under there, and they're all, like, cowering, and then there's, like, this giant Space Marine, and he won't fit. So they have to, like, open it up, and he's just like, are we there yet? Knowing the Space Marines, they'd probably be shooting out the fucking thing, you know? They'd be, yeah. They can run very fast, by the way, but at least in this, they're protected a little bit better. So, and it's also good to have transport for multiple reasons, by the way, in your army. Mainly because it goes further than your average Space Marine. Like 6 inches is like an average movement for a Chaos Space Marine, right? So 6 inches, half a foot from back of the base to the front of the base, moving up. And then with a transport vehicle, I mean, these are... Let me look it up real quick. Let me... where's the codex at? Here it is. It's on the ground. Because I was also talking about... Yesterday I said how I wasn't sure how many fit inside of the Rhino, because it does have limited carrying capacity, right? So I'm looking at the codex here. If you don't have your own army codex, you should get one. Especially if you're trying to build your army before you even go to play. And of course these will change, right? So like nothing's super set in stone. You know, core rules can change for sure. And that's probably going to happen in the 11th. But like your individual Space Marine codexes, hard to say. Here's a Chaos Rhino right here. So there's your Rhino. According to this, it's a 12-inch movement. So that's twice the amount of movement than a Space Marine on foot. How many fit in here, right? This model has a transport capacity of 12 Heretic Astartes infantry models. So that's a lot. That's 12 Space Marines, essentially. So, yeah, you could fit 12 Space Marines in that son of a bitch. It cannot transport Terminator, Jump Pack, Obliterator, or Possessed models. Okay. So, I misspoke the other day when I said that it can transport up to 2 Obliterators. It cannot. I thought it could. Maybe that was earlier editions, and then they took that away. But this one cannot. Yeah, but it's got a movement of 12, which is really good. And then it has 10 wounds. So that's stronger than your average Astartes warrior. So I believe the wounds are like their life bar, right? So the life bar on this is 10 wounds altogether. And then it saves on 3-ups, which is actually pretty good. So anything you roll for the save roll, anything that's 3-up, you're going to get that as a save, essentially. It has an OC of 2, which is meh. And then, let's see what else here. Leadership of 6+, which is, it's okay, I guess. It's pretty good. I don't even own any Obliterators. I always thought they were really cool, but apparently they don't do that good. You'd be better off getting something else. So, yeah. But you can't take Chosen in it? That's fucking dumb. Or it said Possessed. It said Possessed, right? Yeah, so Possessed cannot go inside. But this can. This can roll with Chosen. And I wonder if that means, according to this, it could take Abaddon. So if I want to put Abaddon in here, let me just double check him. So you see how it can get a little complicated? You want to like double check that Abaddon can actually be transported. Because that would suck if you're like, oh, I have Abaddon. Let's see. I'm just looking to read here if it says anything about cannot go inside of a vehicle. And I don't see anything that says no. You can absolutely put Abaddon in here, and considering he's 1 Space Marine, that means you could fit 11 more Space Marines into a Rhino. See what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty fucking awesome. Or if you want to put 12 of your humans in here, you could do that too if you wanted to. Because it just said anything. Yeah, because it has to have the keyword infantry, right? Which Abaddon does. So Abaddon has the keyword infantry, and that means that he works inside of that. Now, if the Rhino said no character units, that's the keyword, then that means no characters can get inside. So it's always good to check and double check your codexes and make sure you understand what you're buying or what you bought and how it can work into your army, right? So like, unfortunately, I have the Chaos Lord with a jump pack. I have him just because he looks fucking awesome. He's an awesome looking model, but he doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to field because there's better options than just having them, but they're uppy, uppy downy or whatever. They're able to go over obstacles a little bit better, or they're a little bit faster, so they could get to objectives a little bit faster. But I haven't seen many that have a lot of raptors or a lot of warp talons, and they're doing a lot of work with that yet. For whatever reason, Games Workshop and 40K doesn't really anything that has a flying ability. That flying keyword it's kind of nerfed a little bit, unfortunately. So maybe they'll fix it. Who knows? God, I just spewed on you guys. I'm sorry. Let me go back to the chat here. And then Neo said, lactic acid? There's acid in my body? Yeah, I know, right? Renival said, pain's not the issue. It's how they treat you. Yeah. So when you go to a doctor's office. The last time I went into Banner Health, they thought I was just trying to get score drugs since I had a DBZ hoodie on and my story didn't make sense of how I'm in pain. Yeah, dude. That's another thing that sucks is like all the opioid crisis and all of the issues that are going on, and a lot of people are taking advantage of this system. They don't really believe you when you come in with a real issue. Like my wife had a issue with an ingrown. It was really, really bad. She ended up needing surgery, but we went downtown and they looked at it and they're just like, I don't know. They weren't really treating her well at all. And I'm like, she's a nurse, you think they would treat her better, but they had a serious attitude problem. And they did give her some antibiotics, which probably did help. They were expensive, by the way. But luckily her insurance covered it for the most part, so it wasn't too bad. But it was like somewhere around like $7,000 for one IV bag of this antibiotic that they gave her because they saw it and they're like, yeah, that looks infected. That does not look right. Let's go ahead and bolster her up with some antibiotics to hopefully if there's a real issue, it'll kill it off. You know what I mean? So if it really is infected, which it was beyond infected, it was necrotic. So, she almost lost her toe in a surgical mishap is how it happened. So, but I'm not going to talk too much about it. And unfortunately, we tried to sue and it didn't work. So if you're trying to do med mal in America, like someone did, unless if they did something catastrophic to you in a surgical setting or whatever, or they actually did something that's malpractice worthy, dude, trying to actually get a case and win it is a lot harder than you think, and it can take years until there's even a decision. So you're stuck paying the bills in the meantime. So we tried to sue. We went through multiple lawyers, and none of them took our case. Yeah, none of them. We tried multiple lawyers. The best one in all of the state of Kentucky, we got him, and he was on board with it. He told us don't do anything else. Don't say anything on social media, yada, yada, yada. His whole rigmarole, we kept to that. And then around October of last year, we got a letter from them saying they're dropping us as a client out of the blue. Up until that point, we thought they were hard working on the case because we sent him everything, all the medical documents, everything that she had to undergo afterward, including 3 surgeries technically, to try to fix the problem. Thousands of dollars. She wasn't working for months, by the way, so we lost out on a lot of income. Yeah, and then come to find out, he gives us a letter to say we're dropping you as a client. No reason why. And we called them back, of course, and they said, well, we looked it over and it didn't make sense to spend that much in order for this to go to trial. So I was like, well, then what about a settlement? And by the time we got a lawyer that was maybe willing to work with us, the statute of limitations kicked in, and we only had about 2 months left until we could basically sue or put in anything that they would deem as working the courts and like progressing it. We ran out of time, and we just, unfortunately, we kind of just had to call it, So if anything ever happens to you in the United States of America, and you're not some rich motherfucker, or you actually know people, or you yourself or someone, yeah, it's a cold world out here, guys. So, but you know what? At least she has full function of everything and she's able to get around and life's pretty much back to normal. So, thank God for that. But yeah, everyone we talked to said you should sue, you'll get hundreds of thousands of dollars, all this shit. We do it. We do everything we can. We get the best lawyers. We consult with them. We plead our case. They say, yeah, it looks like a good case. And then they just drop us as a client. And you can't sue them. You're not going to win. They're going to look at you and go, you and what lawyer? Who's going to take it pro bono? You know? It just fucking sucks, man. So times are hard all over, but here's what we can do is take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and have something in your life that you enjoy doing on the daily. So like, this is my little hobby. I love doing this. Again, it's not my end all be all, but like, this is my happy place, and I hope you found your happy place too. So, and if Warhammer 40K happens to be one of them, you're in the right crowd. So I gotta cut the pizza here, so I will be right back. Drinking A&W, by the way, so I'll be right back, Chad. I apologize. I gotta jump over, cut the pizza, give Maddie her dinner, so you understand. I'm here in spirit. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, everybody. All right, let's go back to our chat, see what's going on. Rendeville said, I demand an MRI turnout. Oh, really? You had to demand an MRI and it turned out you had a kidney stone that was $5 million. Oh my God. See what I'm saying? You have to advocate for yourself, dude. These fucking doctors, man. I know it's like, oh, it's expensive, or like they don't want to waste medical resources, but if it's like there's something fucking wrong, like just listen to your patient, man. You should advocate for them. Like, of course, do the main stuff, like just check them for this, check them for that, like see what their answers are, and if they're like, okay, yeah, this might make sense, and like, I hate it when doctors also look at age and they're like, oh, you're not old enough to have these problems yet. You know, it's like, well, there's motherfuckers who get born with cancer, you know, so like, what do you, dude, like that shouldn't be, you know, they look at these charts and they say, well, according to this, you shouldn't have it yet. And you gotta listen to your patients. You gotta listen to your body, and if something's wrong, tell them like, "Oh, I'm getting these like I'm getting headaches right here above my eyes almost every morning I wake up. I got pressure right here every morning I wake up. I'm like, oh my god, dude." So that's something I gotta talk to my doctor about, right? But anyway, Neo said, I remember when I had a chance to have skin cancer. My doctor at the time was so pessimistic and standoffish about it. I don't know why he was so rude. See, that's not cool, man. That's yeah. They're just like, oh no, it couldn't be that. I don't know. It's like, dude, you never know. You could be developing something. So like, fucking hell. There's people who get lung cancer and don't even smoke, and it's like, how? You know, well, maybe they were exposed to something else, or maybe they were born with it, or just something was wrong. Like shit just happens. Magnus said last time I was down in Gator Country. That's down in Florida, by the way. I got an ear infection, had to pay $7,000 fucking dollars. Oh my god. Yeah, see what I'm saying, everybody? And that's when you, another thing you should know about if you don't know about this is if you don't make a lot of money, you don't have a good job, and you can't pay your bills, call them up and ask them for charity, okay? Because they have money set aside every year that is purposeful for helping people who can't pay off their debt. They would rather it just gets paid off and they can put it on the books and they get their tax benefits or whatever. They would rather that than you like not paying them and it goes to collections. Okay? So if you know you're going into a procedure that's going to be expensive, you can ask them for something called charity. Okay? Don't abuse the system obviously, like but I've done it before. My mom's done it. Maddie's even had to do it because she's a student now, you know? And it will cover, if not all of it, it'll at least help. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, this isn't, I don't know why I'm giving you guys health advice. I'm sorry. But we're talking about it on the subject, and I think it's important. And I don't think a lot of people talk about it a lot, you know? So. And then Forever Lurk 2 said exactly, then we held a plank for a few minutes so they could feel the acid. It's very, very soldier of you to do. I love that. That's fucking awesome, dude. Magnus said got some shitty genetics too. Broken a lot of bones. Oh. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's... I am sorry to hear that. Neo said I was a teacher's assistant for a science teacher. The kids had the same reaction because they always associated acid with bad. Yeah. Yep. And then if you're a good PE teacher, you teach them how to work through that lactic acid, right? Like how to, you know, do the rolling, you know, the pressure, massaging, drinking lots of water, you know, filling your body up with protein to help repair those muscles, and then also going into like rest. You know, I think a lot of places, a lot of things that are out there, they don't talk about rest enough. And if you're working out every day, like hardcore working out every day, you're going to plateau. And that's how you get injuries too. Like there's special forces soldiers and like Navy SEALs that get injured from like fucking literally shit that happens to their bodies because they're breaking down, because they're doing so much rigorous things daily for weeks that they start like literally getting like splinters and fractures in their legs because they're running so much that their body can't build up and heal. So once they get through all that rigorous training, of course, that's when they get to like learn more about fitness and how to do it right and have a good, you know, they try to build them up, but they break them the fuck down. Same thing in the Marine Corps. Like when I was in the Marines, dude, holy shit, we had guys get hurt all the time. And a lot of it was just like they're not used to running or like their bones weren't strong enough. Like I would jump off something and be fine. Then another guy would jump off and fucking blow his knee out. You know what I mean? So it could be the way that you land. I don't know how I didn't break anything in like all my service. Like, I broke my jaw, but that was because I got into a fight. Another story. Yeah, if you're not in the military and you don't get into a fight, then what are you doing? So, oh God. Anyway, and then LED said there's no time to give it all at all. Cause you grieve further in your mind. You reach, I run. You fall on skin knees. You crawl. Ooh. And then she said, "There?" Question mark. Manga said, "Yeah." And then Neo said, "Joke's on you, Travis. I don't play, so I don't need a codex. I still want the Death Guard one though." Yeah. If anything, dude, the codex does have some lore shit in it. Like, there are editions of the codexes, like previous editions, that are actually canonized because it fills in a gap for a timeline. Or like there's shit like White Dwarf, which is their magazine, right? There's like articles in White Dwarf that have like a short story and it's canon. And it actually like helps explain like, well, who is the Emperor? You know what I mean? Or like, who was Melchador the Sigillite? You know, or like, where did the Tyranids come from? Or like, there's like discussions that are, or in codexes, if you have like Necron's army, for example, you're probably going to find stuff in there about the different like Tomb Kings, and like, you know, how they interact with other, I can't remember what they're called, like dynasties is what, I think they're called dynasties. So you know, if you don't play the game, like, you don't need the codex, but if you want one, you know, if you ever think you want to play, then yeah, you can get it. They are a little expensive, so if I were you, I would just get the online version if you don't care, but if you want it just to have it, yeah, you can go buy it. They're usually about $60. So, and then when the new editions soon to come out, they usually drop in price. So if you want to get 10th edition, for example, a 10th edition codex, probably around now up until summer is a good time to buy a codex because it might be on sale, for example, because 11th edition will be coming out supposedly this summer. So we'll see. They do it every 3 years, allegedly. Neo said, "Oh yeah, I don't know if I told you guys, but I got a first commission." Did you really? No, I did not know that. Oh, that's great. Congratulations. Look at you, Neo. How'd you swing that, dude? Who'd you meet? That's great. Neo said, I'm getting $30 for painting a roughed up World Eater. Fuck yeah, dude. I remember you mentioning, Neo, that you do commissions, so if anybody's looking for it, that you would be willing to help on that. Trying to think myself where I would like it or how you could help. I like painting a lot myself. So I'd have to think about it, but I guess it depends. If I want to like catch up or try to get something done quickly or more quick, it's better to have 2 people to work on it than 1, right? So like if you have an entire painting studio or if you have a buddy that likes to paint, you guys could help each other out. Like that does happen. It just depends on to what level you want it painted to. So that is fascinating. And then Reneville said, we're already near 11th edition. Thousand Suns 10th just barely came out. That's correct. Yep. Yeah, Reneville. The good thing about your codex, though, so you have your codex for 10th edition, you can hold on to that. They're also on a cycle. So, like, mine's Chaos Space Marines. Mine probably got released, like, somewhere in the middle, maybe closer to the front of 10th edition, right? So that is good until a new codex comes out. And that might be a year after 11th edition comes out. And then, like, let's say Dark Eldar, usually they're last. At least they were last on 10th edition. So they finally got a codex. I don't know how they didn't have a codex before, but whatever. They never had a codex, so they finally got theirs. That's going to be good until they make a new one. And if they're really focusing on it and they're like, we want Dark Eldar to be one of the many races that they encounter during the 500 worlds, then they're probably going to bolster that up a little bit to make sense in the narrative gameplay of 500 worlds. So 500 worlds is basically 11th edition. That's how I'm looking at it. That's how I'm looking at it, as they're focusing on the Ultramar system. But you can still have gameplay outside of that. It's just that that's what they're kind of focusing on. But there is something about Nachman Gauntlet as well. So the Nachman Gauntlet is a part of 10th edition, and it's like a narrative. It's like its own thing with its own rule sets. It's a little bit different. You know, like mission cards and shit. Primary mission and secondary mission might be a little bit different for something like that, right? So 500 Worlds, I think, is going to be the big one. That's going to be the big one because that's where they're focusing. It's easy. It's easier for them to focus on just one part of the narrative, which also goes hand in hand with the lore, along with Space Marine 2, right? So, like, they're kind of going lockstep and all trying to work together to move it all forward. And then now that Huron Blackheart just got a new model and he got a little, you know, box release, it looks like he might be a part of those 500 worlds. And then what does that mean? Where's Abaddon? Like, do Abaddon and Huron Blackheart even work together? Do they even get along? Do they want the same things? You know? For me, Huron Blackheart, I feel like he just wants to be left alone. He just wants to be able to do whatever he wants. He's a pirate, just do whatever he wants, like a rogue trader. He wants to be like a rogue trader, but he's like an evil rogue trader, right? So that's how I imagine it. I don't think he wants to take it all the way to Terra and tear everything down. No, I feel like he's better just like poking and prodding and doing his own little missions to get what they need to bolster themselves as their entire legion. It's basically a legion at this point. And then be able to pad themselves in their own space of in the space of the galaxy, and be able to carry out missions and stuff. But for the most part, they just want to be left alone. You know, if they want war, we'll give them fucking war. But now that the Ultramarines are here and they're being tasked with, we want you to take all 500 worlds of the Ultramar system. I don't know enough about Ultramar system to say what those entail. So there will very well be Necron pylons. There will be fucking entire dynasties probably in there. They already talk about the Destroyer virus and how that is a part of the Necrons. So I think the Necrons are the big bad. Because usually whenever they release a new edition or like a new year, they like to say, these are the good guys. Of course, it's fucking Ultramarines or Space Marines, of course. And then here's the bad guys. And some people are saying it could be Orcs. I'm thinking it's Necrons because people are saying, well, Necrons were the last edition. So, you know, but Orcs, they could use some love, man. They got some old models. So I'm sure some of the worlds will be under the thumb of the Orcs or the teeth. You know, the Stampa's foot. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of that. And then Neo said, thanks, guys. I'm excited. I hope I get more people to ask me. You will, man. Go to your local game store. Sometimes you can ask them to commission for them because sometimes they want people to have pre-painted armies. That way, if they want to do a demo or if they have like a game night, they can have pre-made armies ready to go. So, you know, there's kind of that. Or maybe they're trying something. So talk to your local game store and ask them, like, hey, do you have anybody who comes in here that's looking for anybody who paints? Or do you guys offer services, you know? Are you looking for someone else? You just don't want to be an employee. Be careful not to be an employee because that's how they get you. And then that's how you're going to work for them. And then you're no longer doing it for fun. You're doing it for fucking money. And it'll kind of burn you out. So I think commission work's really cool if you can do it. I have not had a chance to get that yet. I don't think I'm there time-wise to be able to do that. So, and I want to finish my own army first. So, but if you're just painting to paint and you do a very good job, Neo, like, yeah, I would put yourself out there, man. As you are. And then Reneville says, isn't he in Terminator armor? Yes, he is. Yes. So, Huron Blackheart is indeed in Terminator armor, along with Abaddon. But Abaddon's in his own special Terminator armor, because he's a big boy. So, and then his claws, we all know, that was the Talon of Horus. That thing's huge, by the way. Compared to his body, the claw is like almost the size of his body. But when you put him in Terminator plate, it like proportionally makes sense, but the claw by itself is massive. It's got to be the biggest claw that any human. The only other bigger claw would be something on a fucking Titan or a Knight. You know what I mean? So like, it is a massive weapon. It's impressive. I have a metal one, by the way. Where is that? Ah, here it is. I have the Talon of Horus in all metal, and I just keep this. I want to make it into a keychain, so I think it's really fucking cool. But this is from his old kit, you know, the metal version. I got this off eBay for a couple bucks, but yeah, it's really fucking cool. So just something that I have that kind of is like a homage to like old school Games Workshop and when everything was metal, the die cast, as you will. So yeah, I just got the Talon of Horus because I thought it was kind of sweet. Yeah, badass weapon. And then Forever Lord 2 said, anybody else seen that new Game of Thrones spinoff on HBO Plus, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms? It only has 3 episodes, but it looks really good so far. I have not, but I have seen. We have HBO too, so I have seen the advertisements for that. And then yeah, I spewed a lot. Yeah, my bad. Oh, Drippy Chicken Boy's in here. What's up, dude? Awesome. Hey, hey, hey. Mateo Messi said, damn your poor wife. Well, that's not very nice. Who are you? Oh, yeah. Con Ghost Cosplay's in here. What's up, dude? Good to see you again. And then Mateo Mercy said, I'm so sorry, man. That's crazy. Yeah, I've dealt with a lot in my life, and that's just some of it. So just to let you know that we're all going through hard times. And then Forever Lord 2, I read down here a little bit further. I only sued someone once. I got hit on the head by a stupid drunk chick at a feeder road in Houston. She broke my thumb 2 months before I had a chance at a Quantico tryout / interview. Oh my god. Of course, right? Fate dealt you a bad card that time. Did you at least get something for it? And if you went to Quantico, did you... I wonder if you ever got into that. I've been to Quantico myself. Con Ghost Cosplay says, oh, just Ghost is fine if you want something along... Okay, I'll just call you Ghost. That's a cool name. Yeah, LED agrees, so... Sweet. How about Toasty Ghosty? Is what Forever Lurk 2 said. LED said, by the way, we both cosplay. Yes, she does. And then Reneville asked Magnus Mags, just look it up. Arjack still in the 10th edition. They updated his model. Okay, there you go. Toasty Ghosty it is. All right, Toasty Ghosty. I love it. That's good to see him in here. How are you doing, by the way, man? Toasty Ghosty said, Ellie, what's your favorite cosplay? And she said, Himko Toga. And he said, awesome. I cosplay female versions of Ghost and Koenig from Call of Duty. Oh, that's interesting. Now I'm working on a female Pyramid Head. That's right. You were talking about that. That's fucking dope. That's really cool. Toasty Ghosty. Magnus said, I was at work yesterday and bought a Sprite from the lodge, shook it up real good, and went outside to open it with a coworker. Shit blew up like a pipe bomb. That's funny, man. And then Forever Lord 2 said, Sprite was probably bottled at sea level. Yeah, that also is that's truth right there. And then Toasty Ghost, he said, thank you. Now I got to go, guys. My brothers want me to game with them. Okay, all right. Have a good night, Toasty Ghosty. And Magnus said, Forever 2, yeah, probably was. The cap went flying like a bottle of champagne. That's funny. Magnus has requested I stay away from Alice in Chains. And then Frivolar 2 said that's exactly what happens on a deployment. It's the grind, the everyday, the suck. Yup. You got it, man. You got it, bro. Triangles is in the house. Hey, what's up, Triangles? And then Frivolar 2 said, chat, I suggest that we be quiet for little poor Travis to catch up on reading. We'll read until midnight. I know you guys are fast. And then, yeah, Triangles, I will totally collab with you if you can plan a time and I can download WT Mobile. Also need to collab with Travis too. That is correct. Yep, me and Magnus will be doing a collab. And then WC, I'll be doing more collabs with him as well. More like hobby nights. So kind of like what I do for tonight, where I'm just like building something or working on something. WC will be adjacent doing the same thing. And then we'll probably interact. I don't know if it's like a single chat. I think that's how it works. I've never done it before. So I would imagine the chats would merge. So whoever pops in either on his or on mine, they'll see the same thing. So that should be interesting. We'll see if that, you know, if that's something that works out. I have no idea. All right. Oh, here we are. We're caught up. Hey, hey. We are caught up, by the way. And then Reneville said then Abby can't ride in the Rhino since he was a Terminator. Keyword, since that armor he is wearing. Really? Let me see. That's a good question. I am caught up in the chat now. You might be right, my dude. It doesn't... Because he is technically... You are right. He's technically in the Terminator armor. Yep, he's got Terminator keyword. You're right. He does, he does. I see it right here. It goes Infantry, Character, Epic Hero, Terminator, Chaos Undivided, Chaos, Abaddon the Despoiler. Those are his keywords. So, that's why you always double check your shit, right? So, I was really hoping that was true, but looking this over, you are very right, sir. You are very right. Gracias. LED said, I feel targeted. Hey, no picking on LED. No picking on LED. Be nice, be nice. Let me see. Let me look at the Rhino again, because you're right. Let's see, do Chosen have... No, Chosen do not have any keywords that would not allow them. Havocs are good, so Havocs could fit in there. Obliterators are a no-go. And then there's the Land Raider, which I would love the Land Raider, by the way. I think that's a wonderful model. That would probably be another good... Because that's a good transport vehicle. And according to the Chaos Land Raider, it's got 16 wounds, by the way. So significantly higher amount of life bar, if you will. Toughness 12, which is really good. Movement is 10 inches, which is pretty darn good. Where's the fucking Rhino, dude? The hell? Oh, here it is. But the Rhino has 12 inches. Toughness 9. So, one reason why I chose the Rhino is because it's cheaper on points. So, and it could still carry a lot. It's just a good all-around transport vehicle. But, like, the Chaos Land Raider... Yeah, that shit's pretty badass. And it saves on 2-ups. That's crazy, by the way. This one, on the Chaos Rhino, it's 3-up saves. Wow, 2-up saves? That's a tough son of a bitch right there. Leadership of 6-up. And its OC is 5. Which is better than the Rhino, which is only OC 2. So you could technically plant the Chaos Land Raider on an objective marker, and you get OC 5 for that. I wonder if all of the contents therein also count, or if they spill out, do they get it? You know, do you add them all up, or is it just by itself? That's a WC question. That's also probably core rules question as well. But no, thanks for checking me on that, dude. Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot take Abaddon in the Rhino. Meow. I wish. But you don't always get what you want. Maybe they'll change it in 11th. Who knows? Forever Lurk 2 said, I think the three of you should meet up at the ski lodge, avoid the Sprite, and give us battle reports. That would be dope, dude. I did look up where Ontario is from here, and it's actually not that far from my location. So that'd be pretty dope. I don't know if the ski lodge has a fucking area for us, though. We're all like coated up and cold and shit. And we're just like playing Warhammer. That'd be kind of cool. Triangle says, Ellieway, Ellieway, Ellieway. Are you trying to summon her? Like through the mirror or something? Like Bloody Mary? Trying to summon her? So she's just going to show up and probably fucking murder you with monster in your eyeballs. And she'll get fucking, yeah. Oh, it's like Beetlejuice, dude. Don't say it. Oh, no. She's in your walls. Ellie's not in the mood tonight. Take off the gas there, Triangles. Unless if she's actually upset. Ellie, are you actually upset? Or are you just playing? If she's actually upset, I don't want to see her upset. And then Forever 2 says, does Canada even allow Marines across the border? It should be a matter of national security. Right? Oh my god. They're like, so what are you transporting here? I'm like, I have an entire army, sir. I don't think you understand. It's one of the most dangerous armies in all of the universe. And then the fucking Canadian Border Patrol guy's gonna be like, can we get the paddy wagon over here? Because this one's going to a padded room. And then I start showing them. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is Abaddon. Abaddon the Despoiler. He's the war master for all of the Chaos Forces. And it goes on for 5 hours in an interrogation room. And then by the end of it, the fucking detectives are like, so how do we play this game? And I'm like, how much more time do you have? Hold on, let me call Magnus and he'll come. We'll show you. We're converting them. Oh, man. Oh, you don't like that nickname? Okay. Ellie said, please stop. Triangles, let off the gas, please. And then Magnus said, nah, the lodge is too small. They're building another lodge after the season because there's not enough room. Wow. But we could always just go to the staff center. Hey, that's an idea. That is an idea, dude. If I get my army up to 2,000 points, and if you have your army up to 2,000 points, it might just happen. Oh, God. And then Magnus said, Lurk, I got no damn clue. Magnus said it could rip apart the entire Canadian army, not gonna lie. Yeah, literally. Oh, my God. All 2,000 of them. Oh, God. You know, I will say, when I was in the military, not a lot of people played Warhammer, but there were a lot of books. So, like, that's how I got into it. And I had a buddy who, like, kind of played it. He played Tau, though, a little bit. He didn't really get his army all the way up, but I remember him working on, he would buy the little minis and work in his room. And I don't know, it's kind of hard to have hobbies like that while you're in the military. It's actually not very easy, especially the job we were in. We were always busy, always going somewhere, always training. Like, you didn't really have a lot of, like, you know, sit down time. So, but I don't know. I always thought it was kind of cool. I was like, oh, that's kind of sweet. Like, I would see him with his hobby and like what he was building and shit. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So, then there was another guy that tried to build a PC in his barracks room. Did not work out. He had no idea what he was doing. He built all this stuff and he ended up burning it out like right away. He paid all this money for all this shit to come in, and like, good on him for trying it, but he ended up burning his computer and it just became a big fucking dumb paperweight. And I remember he laughed about it. He got it water cooled. He put so much money into that shit. Fucking, it only ran for like a week and then it just burned out and died. He probably didn't even put like CPU paste on it or something and just ran it like with no ventilation and like a fucking, you know, like a carpeted ground or something, and it just burned out. And he probably like left it on for hours, knowing him. He was a bit of a lazy Marine, so he was a fun guy to be around, great guy to have drinks with and chat with and like shoot the shit, but he was a little lazy. Freeman, I'll never forget him. Good friend though. And then Reneville said my guardsmen are near 3,000 points. Holy shit. You have quite the swath to choose from. What do you run, Canadian? Do you run Cadians or what? What's your, like, is there a regiment, or do you just kind of like, do you have like a theme? I'm just curious. You probably have multiple, like, and that's cool too. I know some people do that. They have like multiple themes. So. And then Magnus said the Canadian Army is around 90,000 strong, including the reserves. We ain't winning shit. Yeah. That's all right. It's kind of tiny, but it's like plus reserves. All right. Yeah. I don't know what the U.S. We say we're at 1 million, but I don't think we're actually at 1 million. I think we're less than that. That's including reserves and like all that shit, but. We're probably way less than 1 million. Probably like, I know the Marine Corps used to be at like 345,000, which is a lot. And then by the time I was leaving, we were at like 280 or something. So we were kind of going smaller. But it's funny because they always talk about like recruiting commercials and like we want people to join, but they're kicking them out just as fast as they get them in. I'm like, you guys got to take care of the ones that are in already. What the fuck are you guys doing? I know you want some new, you know, they want the new fresh meat to come in, but you got to take care of your old dogs too, man, or people who want to stay in and become a sergeant, you know, like, or get up in rank. Like, you got to take care of those people. And the incentives were kind of there. So... obviously not good enough for me to join. I mean, I could have done it. I would have gotten a $50,000 bonus to do it. Not a bad gig, but I looked at it and I was like, how many more years I got to do? It was like 5 years, and I was like, 5 fucking years for $50,000. That's a long 5 years, you know, but pretty good money. And I think it was like 35,000 for 3 years or something like that. So if you wanted to go a little bit less, you could do less too. Or you could change your job if you wanted to like get into intel or something, or counter intel. Those were like $100,000 to move over and to sign up for like fucking 8 years or something crazy like that, which is a pretty good gig. But unfortunately, you're not going to have much of a life. So I guess it's kind of a toss-up, right? It's like the guys who go SF. They don't have much of a life, man. They're always... the operation tempo is very high. If you're not training, then you're deploying. If you're not deploying, then you're training. You know? And they have very rigorous, you know, training cycles. Always doing something. Always like, oh, we're going to work on fucking... scuba diving. Oh, we're gonna go here and work on mountain warfare. Oh, we're gonna go here, we're gonna work on fucking CQB and mount, and then we're gonna go here, we're gonna work on helicopter shit, you know, or we're gonna go here and learn fucking mountaineering and like fucking survival in the desert and shit. You know, they're always doing something. So a lot of those guys, usually they stay in. A lot of SF guys usually stay in and make a whole career out of it, but there are some that get out after like 10 years or whatever, and they're like, yeah, I'm fucking done. That's what I did. I had 10 years, and I'm like, I technically did 11. I was almost to 12. But I was just like, no, I don't. I'm okay right now. So I kind of got out, and oh well, I'm okay with it. My stress levels have decreased significantly. So, let's check the chat. And then Reneville says, I live near Luke Air Force Base, and a lot of the guys stationed there pop up at the Warhammer store. Oh, that's cool. That's legit. That's very good. Yeah, so that's, I didn't know that. Yeah, I would have, I figured it'd be like a really hard hobby to have, but like it's not impossible. I know when I was on deployment in Afghanistan, I had my little like Pokemon fucking like a DS I could play Pokemon on, and I loved that. I loved reading and I loved working out, or writing letters. Sometimes I'd get letters, shit like that. So that was kind of nice. But I know this one guy, him and his friend, they brought their Magic cards, not like Magic as in but like Magic the Gathering, so MTG, and they played that. And I remember seeing them do that, and I was like, "What the fuck? You brought your Magic cards out here?" And they're like, "Yeah, dude. What do you think we do? We gotta have something, So I guess they brought a bunch of decks and they'd give them out to friends so they could play Magic the Gathering. So like that's kind of cool. Obviously they deployed it before, so they were used to it. And then Magnus said, Travis, we should do CSM versus Custodes. That would be a good one. That would be good. I would play that just to see who would win, right? LED said, I learned about this in 3rd grade. You expect me to remember? So I'm guessing the type of dinosaur. LED said, I am 27. Neo said, I'm kind of nervous about doing this commission soon. What if I screw up? Uh-oh. Hey, that's normal to feel that way, dude. If you're feeling that way, it means you care. So I think you'll do good. Just plan it out before you do it, but don't take too long. You know what I mean? So like what colors you're going to choose, and make sure you communicate with your client, but don't over communicate, because then they're going to think you're not like it's good to consult with them. Like if you're like, oh, I want to make it, this color, or I want to do this, it's good to just bounce it off them and be like, hey, what do you think about this or that? But don't do it too much. They might appreciate it, but it's also good for you to like work on it and show it to them, and they get surprised by it. Like, wow, that looks even better in person. Holy shit. So there's got to be a little bit of trust there. There should be a little bit of trust there. So, and then it depends on to what level they want it painted to. If they're like, hey, I just want a tabletop ready, I got a tournament coming up, I just want it done relatively quickly, but like good enough where it passes the 3-foot mark check, then there you go. So, but if they're looking for something that's like really good, ask them if they have current models and what they look like compared to, what do they want them to look like? Maybe they could send you pictures of like, I would like it to look like this. So I'm sure you worked all that out, but just trying to help you if you're looking for reasons to not feel as nervous. But it's normal to feel nervous, dude. I get nervous about shit a lot. So, and I've done a lot of fucking things, and I'm like, why am I nervous right now? Fucking, why am I nervous, But I was told a while ago that if you get nervous, it's good because you care. So, but don't let it consume you. Magnus said, I just shut up, Neo. Just think of the guy being all excited that he got a fresh new looking model. Yeah. So that's another way of saying like he should just be happy that you're doing it, And Neo said, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And Magnus said, I'm always right. Neo said, I am what I feed my mind. I cannot be negative. That's funny. LED said, Triceratops. One of my favorite dinosaurs is the Pachycephalosaurus. If you can tell me what that is, you win. But that was one of my favorite dinosaurs. So it's not a big dinosaur. Of course, I love the megalodon. I love the giant great white shark of doom. The T-Rex, of course. Velociraptors, all that good stuff. But Yeah, the Pachycephalosaurus is like my favorite. So, I like dinosaurs too, by the way. I when I was a younger kid, I wanted to grow up and be an archaeologist. I thought it'd be kind of cool. I would still love to do that, but then I actually took an archaeology class, and I was like, wow, you guys got a lot of boring shit to do. I thought they did a lot more cooler stuff, and they really don't. It's not all it's cracked up to be. It's really not. It's very boring, a lot of cataloging, and like before you even dig the dirt, like all this shit you gotta do, like it's ridiculous. To be a modern day archaeologist, it's not as sexy as the movies make it out to be, unfortunately. There's so much red tape, especially if you're in another country, like or on native land, like oh my god, dude. You find anything, it gets slowed down by like fucking years. Because then the fucking tribal councils come in and they have to make a decision about if you can dig 2 feet to the left or 2 feet to the right. And it's like, they just take forever. So it's like, well, do you fucking want it done or not, you know? But if you go down to South America, that's probably where it's at. It's probably where you want to go. So. Rennieville said my theme are gypsy tigers. A mixed bag having, okay, Alitas, Krieg, Scions, and Romanian type. Got Ogrins for my abhumans, 4 Sentinels, 2 Lehman Russ tanks, not Lemon, 1 Rogaldorn, and 2 land transporters, and 1 air. Oh, interesting. That's a cool little army you got there. No, do you have any artillery? I want heavy artillery, dude. I want them basilisks, baby. Give me that shit. Them bone shaking cannons or whatever the fuck they're called. Those big boom. That's Earth Shaker cannon. I'm sorry. I think it's called the Earth Shaker. Bone Shaker. What the fuck am I talking about? LED said, yeah, and I'm going to just make you mad now. Okay. Magna said my mom was in the Navy for 5 years a while back. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. She went to a home show and met a recruiter who said she could get $50,000 because she lost some hearing in one of her ears from firing machine guns. I wish it was that easy. Maybe in Canada. I would hope so. But yeah, tinnitus. I have tinnitus, so I get a 10% for that, but they don't pay for it anymore. Unfortunately, I have it ringing in my ears right now. Like, as I'm talking to you, I can actively hear it's always ringing. Always something. So, it's an unfortunate reality, but I worked around a lot of explosives and guns, so, and machinery, too. So, a lot of loud noises. My hearing's still better than most people, believe it or not. So, I don't have a lot of hearing loss yet, but I like my hearing. Yeah, if she went, like, deaf or anything like that, yeah, she should definitely put in a claim to get some cashola. Foreverlord 2 said that's the best thing about the services. I did my time, was able to retire and get disability. Damn. Was young enough to start a business and then sell it, retire before 50. No shit, dude. Look at you. Wow. Yeah, I'm curious what kind of business it was. That's freaking dope. Oh, Foreverlord 2 said it ran a skydiving school. What? Oh, that's so cool. Neo said, is that the headbutting guy? Yes, it is. Ding, ding, ding. You win. You are correct. The Pachycephalosaurus is the one that, like, rams at stuff and just hits it with your head. Like, that's its only defense, is, like, headbutting things. I always thought he was so funny. Because I'm like, wait, so you're telling me this guy just runs around with his head down and just headbutts everything? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, that's the coolest fucking dinosaur ever. They're not very big. I think they're like maybe the size of a dog or something, but they have like a really hard skull. And when they run, they go full force and just boom right into you. Give you a really nasty Charlie horse or probably break your leg or something. So, pretty cool. I would imagine it's like maybe like a modern day emu, but like with a hard head, you know, not like a bird. It has actual bones and shit. But like it just fucking full bore just runs at you and just plows its skull right into you. I always thought it was kind of funny. So, Foreverlord 2 said, yeah, but under a different name, and they sold off for the good jump planes. Oh. They sold off for the good jump. Interesting. So you own the planes too? What? And then Reneville said it's the monk-looking dino with that headbutts. Yep, you got it. And then he said he's a stego guy. Yeah, stegosaurus. With those stegosaurus are really cool with the fucking club tails and shit. And then Neo said ankylosaurus gang on top. Ankylosaurus. Reneville said Jurassic Park lied to us. Oh yeah, they definitely did. Or like the fact that they made roars for, you know, when the T-Rex would do its like roar at the end of the movie and shit. They don't know if they actually roared or not, by the way. Unfortunately. I don't think we still know. Some people say they squawked. But like the roar like a lion, like no, T-Rexes don't roar. They literally made that up because they thought it sounded cool. And it did, you know, but they don't roar, by the way. They like try to check their, you know, bone structure, and they're trying to like, there's so much to dinosaurs that's like, there's a whole conspiracy theory about like how a lot of dinosaurs, we actually don't know what they really look like. We just guess. Like the megalodon, right? There's no fully intact megalodon because their body is made out of cartilage. The only bones they had were in their mandibles, which are their jaw, and their teeth. Like, that's it. If even. Mainly it was just their teeth. So, like, we could look at this tooth and be like, this is a whale. But, like, no, it's not. It's a carcharodon, which is a shark. And the megalodon is the biggest of the sharks. But they don't really know what the fuck it looks like. They're like, well, assuming we line them all up, if it was a shark, what would it look like, you know? And I don't even know if there's bone structure in its face or not, actually. But I know the teeth are the one thing that is the only thing that they say this is what it could have looked like. And then even then, the changing of the sizes to how big they are, like people say they're like fucking 30 meters long and they're like giant. And then other people are like, nah, they're like 15, 20 meters long, you know, and like they weighed 10 tons or whatever it is. But like the woolly mammoth, we know what that looks like. We understand that because we've seen well-preserved woolly mammoths, which is crazy, by the way. And I have seen woolly mammoth tusks, and holy shit, those things were massive. Massive animals. One of the largest land mammals in the world. You know, unfortunately, they went extinct for multiple reasons, but, you know, there's still even a debate of how the dinosaurs went extinct. And like, I remember when I was in the archaeology class in college, they talked about the Yucatan, you know, like Mexico, how it's like a circle, right? The Yucatan Peninsula is up here and then it goes down into Mexico. They're saying that's where the crater impact that killed the dinosaurs. So somewhere in that fucking area, however deep it is, right, there's the actual meteorite that caused, you know, the extinction level event that was the end of the dinosaurs as we know them, and reset everything and turned it into an ice age and all this crazy shit. So, I don't know, are we looking at that? Imagine being the motherfucker that had a fucking... We use our technology to go down into the depths of the ocean and we find the fucking massive meteorite that was the one that actually killed the dinosaurs. Do you know how much that thing would be worth, by the way? Probably trillions of dollars. Meteorites are very expensive. I know because I've seen them and I know how much they go for sale. So, yeah. Meteorites, especially one of that size, which I don't even know how big that thing would be to actually cause that. It's pretty sweet, right? Magnus said, whoa, dude. Must have a lot of bones to retire before 50. Yeah, good amount of money. Yep, he set himself up, and he retired in the military, so... And usually you don't collect that until you're, like, 62, but it depends on how many deployments you do. So, like, for me, I'll get whatever money I put into my TSP when I'm 59 because of the amount of deployments I've done and shit. So they slash it off there and whatever the fuck. Or maybe it was 61 and now it's 62. Triangle said, "Hey Travis, name me a vehicle from War Thunder Mobile that I can record with tonight." Just do, like, do you do modern tanks? I think you do modern tanks, don't you? Just do the M1 Abrams, dude. Just rock with that shit. I know you're more like anti-air or you're more like radar. I gotta look at your newer videos though. It's been a minute. And then LED said, "Here comes the messenger, Black Crow on a tombstone, found breaker of dark days." Neo said, "Oh wait, other people have tinnitus here too." Me too, yep. Oh yeah, I got tinnitus. I bet Forever Lurk unfortunately does too. Yeah, it's not something I wish on anybody, but like I'll be in a room and when it's really quiet, all I hear is the ringing. And it sucks. So, but usually luckily life is pretty loud to where I don't even notice it. You know, but it's like right now, I can hear it right now. And then sometimes I get it where it's like, you know, the random and you get those little, by the way, if you didn't know what that is, when you hear those high-pitched noises, unfortunately, that's the death of it, and you'll never hear that high-pitched noise ever again. So that's literally, it like goes off, and your brain registers it, and then something with your eardrum registers it, but it basically dies, and when it dies, you'll never hear that high-pitched of a noise ever again. So they say. And then Magnus said the Ankylosaurus is the one with the club tail. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay. I thought that was the Stegosaurus. I guess not. I know there's a Triceratops, too. Which, by the way, if you've ever seen a Triceratops skull, holy shit, it is fucking cool looking. I have seen a Triceratops skull in person, and I'm like, wow, that is a massive animal. With the fucking 3 horns. Holy shit, is that thing cool. Yeah. And if you ever wonder where the tale of dragons come from, you know, like every culture has dragons, it's probably because some motherfucker was excavating something or like plowing in a field and they hit this giant bone and they pull out this fucking skull that has teeth on it. They're like, what the fuck is this thing? They're going to be like, that be dragons, you know? Or like a sea serpent or something, you know? Like, that's what it was. It was like these medieval, you know, or like, whatever, wherever they're like giants, right? Like, oh, it's a giant because they would see these giant fucking bones and it would be like a part to a woolly mammoth or something, you know? They're like, and they can only think in their head of like, they've seen animal bones, they've seen human bones, and they're like, that just looks like a giant fucking leg to a, you know, cyclops or something. So there you go. Still cool to think about, right? Dragons are fucking sweet, but dinosaurs were like, I guess, dragons. And then Triangle said same if I worked around cannons and a lot of guns as well, actually. Oh, you did? I didn't know that, Triangles. You worked around a lot of... Oh. Shit. Forever Like 2 said, what if they barked like dogs? Yeah, dinosaurs are just like... Or maybe mooed like a cow. Like whales sound like that under the water, so I guess there you go. Triangle said, great, now we've just let out a bunch of dinosaurs. Uh-oh. And then Triangle said, we just created Jurassic Park 2.0, but there would be Jurassic World. We've created Jurassic World 2.0. Reneville said, the Romans thought the bones of a mammoth was a cyclops. Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yep. So they would see these ancient, you know, way back in the day, and they're like, what the fuck, you know, what is this? Like, could you imagine? Could you imagine plowing your field and like you're digging or whatever, and you hit this hard object, and you're like, what the fuck is this? And then you unearth like this fucking spine that's like 30 feet long. You're like, what the fuck is this thing? And then you find its skull. Like, I'd be terrified, dude. I'd be like shitting my fucking pants. I'm like, what the fuck is this? They don't say anything in the Bible about this. What the fuck is this shit? Dude, I would literally shit myself. Hell, even if nowadays, if I found a fucking dinosaur bone, I would shit myself. I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, the human brain just can't conceptualize that happened millions of years, hundreds of millions of years ago. But it did. Fucking wild, right? Absolutely crazy. Crazy. Another like ice age we're talking here, or like when the mammals took over the earth. I love the giant sloth. You guys ever see? I don't know the name of it, but it's like the giant sloth, and it had like hooked hands, so it could like get the branches of trees because it didn't just climb the tree. No, it was the tree. But even then, like we're talking like back in the day, like trees were so much bigger than they are now. It's crazy, man. So I love talking about dinosaur shit. I love talking about all that. So even though this is like a hobby channel, like either way, I like talking, just shooting the shit about crazy things because it's fun. Forever Lurk 2 said, although we can currently hear what a large reptile or dino sounds like, I imagine they would sound a lot like a louder crocodile. Oh, like they kind of rumble, like they kind of make it's hard to say what noise they would do, but that could be possible. Reneville said Ice Age didn't happen till millions of years later. We're still in the Ice Age and started 20,000 years ago, if I remember that right. I thought we were outside of it. Like it ended 10,000, 20,000 years ago. But, I mean, if we're in an Ice Age cycle, then it's possible. Unless if the science changed. When I was younger, I was taught that the Ice Age ended like 10,000 years ago, 10, 15,000 years ago, and that we're in a, everything's greener now. So the greenhouse gas effect, all that shit is kind of in a different cycle of like a warming. I was taught that, about global warming. That was what they said. And then it changed into global, it turned into climate change, which, I mean, it's probably true. I don't know. Like tornadoes are getting bigger than ever. Like the tornado alley is moving up. The ice caps are melting. I don't care who you are. You can look at fucking satellite photos and you can see that they are clearly melting. They're clearly shrinking inward. You know what I'm saying? So like you can't deny that. And Magnus said I could low key get the meteorite that killed the dinosaurs, bro. If you did that, like, I don't know if there's anybody doing that right now. I don't know if there's any scientists trying to find that fucking thing, but like, dude, if you want to be a trillionaire, if you want to be the world's first trillionaire, find that fucking thing. Scientists would love to get their hands on that. I don't know if anybody's even looking for it. I have no idea. I don't even know if you can. It could be so fucking deep. It could have gone into the fucking, like how deep into the earth did it go? But I mean, that bitch impacted, and like, you'd have to also look at around the crater and be like, okay, so you'd have to 3D map the entire thing, like the entire Gulf, I guess, of Mexico. I guess, kind of. Well, you like something like you'd have to like 3D map that bitch, and then like sonar all the way down until you find the bottom, and then you go, okay, according to this triangulation, if we look at this, the meteor should have impacted here. And you just bring an entire like fucking research vessel out there, and you drop like a massive drone to go all the way down that can somehow withstand the pressure. And then you just start like probing the fucking earth with more sonar and more infrared, and well, not infrared, but you know what I mean, like some sort of a like LiDAR system or some sort of ground penetrating radar to like find it and then be like, okay, this composition is coming back as meteorite. You find that, dude? Holy shit. You basically solved what killed the dinosaurs. Or like you basically have a piece of one of the most cataclysmic events to ever happen on the earth. Like imagine that, dude. And then pulling that bitch up from the water. How heavy is that thing? I don't even know. Meteorites are really heavy. It's like lifting up a fucking black hole sun, you know? Raising it up to the fucking... Like, I would love to see that on Discovery Channel. Just to be there, I would be getting chills. I'd be like, there's no way we're about to unearth the fucking meteorite that killed the dinosaurs. Like, could you imagine the amount of publicity you would get for that? That would be a really cool research thing to do. So, and that's if it even landed there. We're just guessing. It could have landed anywhere else. It could have landed somewhere in the Atlantic. We have no idea. But that's the theory, is that it landed somewhere there. So, a whole bunch of roars going on. Triangle said, "Oh boy, I can't wait when Travis gets to this part of the chat." I am here. I'm here. Forever Lurk 2 said, "Huh? I can't hear you over the breaching charge from 1993. Yeah, dude." Magnus said, "The only time I've seen a Triceratops skull is on the Alice in Chains album cover." Yep. Oh, that's a cool one. That's a cool album cover. Yeah, but if you ever get a chance to see one, holy fucking shit, is it insane. I saw it at, it was in Washington, D.C. The Smithsonian. I saw it at the Smithsonian. I don't know if it was touring or if they brought it up from the archives, but that's when I got to see a Triceratops skull in the flesh, and I was like, holy fucking shit, this is absolutely insane. Along with other dinosaur specimens. So, I don't know if you knew this, but a lot of the museum pieces that are out, a lot of them are fake. And they have the real ones stored elsewhere. So, but I've seen the real thing of I've touched things that are from Egypt. You know what I mean? Like giant, like things that are thousands of years old. I've touched them before, and I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking crazy, dude. Yeah, I've been to the Met. If you've ever been to the Met in New York, they have a massive, massive Egyptian wing. And it is the most amount of mummies I've ever seen in my life. The most amount. I don't know how the fuck they got them here. But yeah, the Met is massive, and I highly, highly, strongly recommend you go. And you cannot see it in one day. I think it's impossible. It's like the Chicago Art Museum, another really good place you should go to at least once in your life. You cannot see the whole thing in one day. It is impossible. I really don't think you can. It's meant to come back multiple times. So, but if you want another recommend for somewhere else to go in the world, the Met in New York City and the Chicago Art Museum and the Smithsonian. So you go to those three, you're going to have a really good time. And that's not even mentioning like in Paris, like the Louvre, or like the British Royal Museum or whatever. That whole thing has like fucking so much shit that they've stolen that they collected. I'm sorry, they collected over their many hundreds of years of being an empire. So yeah, the British are like, they're like the Blood Ravens. The British are like the Blood Angels of a chapter. They just steal everything, and they're just like, oh, it'll look nice in the museum. Probably for the better, too, because at least they take good care of it. So, Triangle says, I do not have an Abrams. Well, I don't know, Panzer tank, I guess? Panzer, right? Panzers are pretty badass. And then Forever Lurk 2 said, I wouldn't tell anybody about my dinosaur bone. It would be mine, and no one would take it to any museum. It would be my precious. I know, dude. If I found a dinosaur bone, yeah. I don't know if I'd ever take it to a museum either. I'd probably keep it and be like, this is so fucking cool. To hold something in your hand that's like millions of years old. Like, I cannot even fathom that. Like, I'm getting the chills just thinking about that shit. So, I've held a woolly mammoth tooth before. That was pretty fucking dope. So, like a, Those are big teeth. They're petrified. So they're fossilized, and it's like a rock. It's crazy. It's like the woolly mammoth tusks. They're literally they're fossilized to where they're like stone. And you can buy them. You can buy fucking mammoth tusks. I saw one in Cave Creek, Arizona. There's a shop there. It's one of the coolest shops I've ever been to. But it's all like gemstones, like precious gemstones. They have meteorites in there. They have fucking fossils in there. They have shit in there that's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Tens of thousands of dollars. It is one of the coolest places ever. And I remember I went there and I was like, holy fucking shit. They had megalodon teeth there. They had a full set of near perfect condition mammoth tusks when you first walk in. And I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, I look at the price tag and it's like 70,000 or whatever it is. And I was like, you can fucking buy this shit? Like, imagine how rich you are to like, also, how do you transport these things? But like, imagine pulling up and being like, yes, I would like to buy your mammoth tusks. That'll look really good in my kitchen, yes. Like, if I was a fucking multimillionaire, you damn right I'd have some fucking mammoth tusks in my house. Fuck yeah. my 40K gaming room, I'd have fucking mammoth tusks and shit. How badass would that be, dude? And then Triangle said, Travis, when you get here, please stop them. Magnus said no. And then LED said, I'm doing lyrics, what y'all want. And then Alice in Chains, LED said Alice Cooper. And LED said both Alice's. Triangle said, finally, no more dinosaur. Yep. And then Reneville said the Ice Age is defined by the caps of northern and southern poles. So there you go. Interesting. Magnus said, I don't know, roar, I guess. Triangles does not like the roar. He does not. Triangles, it's okay, man. And then Magnus said, I would share a chunk of meteorite for all. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Thank you. He said, what the fuck is this thing? Triangles. Reneville said the New Mexico crater. I'll have to check that out. LED said, I'll do Poison. Wait, do you mean like the band Poison? I don't see you as a Poison listener. Triangle said, Cannonback hanging in my living room, view Einer Klasse. Interesting. Triangle said, oops, sorry, I was still in German. And then Triangle said, I meant to say I have a cannon in my backyard, a saber sword for hanging on the wall, and a few guns. Oh, that's dope, dude. So that's where you have all that from. Oh my gosh. That's really cool. Yeah. I want a saber, damn it. I want a fucking cannon. That's so cool. And LED said, I actually want to do Offspring. Go for it. Do some Offspring, girl. Manny said, apparently the meteorite that killed the dinosaurs got instantly vaporized upon hitting the Earth. That means there's still meteorite dust. Do they theorize that it got vaporized? I mean, that thing, when it came down, that fucker had to have... I mean, there's meteorites that are small and they hit the fucking ground and they're fine. But imagine the velocity, like, literally apocalypse level event we're talking here. Like, where did it even come from? You know, just a fucking rogue asteroid, and then it makes its way into our system and it beelines it for fucking Earth. And the dinosaurs are just chilling out, you know, everything's fine. They look up and they just see, boom! Like, we're talking, like, yeah. To be a fly on that wall. Maybe to see it from space. Be up on the space station. Holy shit. Yeah, if it did vaporize, that's sad. And then Triangle said, Allie, you need to go back to school. You need to go to the hospital. You need to get checked. And you need to rethink your decisions. Magnus said, roar. Magnus said, stop it for God. Triangle's not a 2-year-old anymore. Yeah. All right, enough with the roar, I guess. Reneville said, my theory is that the impact changed as the O2 when it lifted the underground minerals into the atmosphere. The majority of the dinosaurs died by suffocation, caused smaller animals had no issue like gators. Yeah, isn't that weird? Like, when you also think about it, like crocodiles or there's certain like horseshoe crabs, right? Like those fuckers have been around for millions of years and they haven't evolved at all. Like the horseshoe crab is literally a dinosaur. It's a cephalopod dinosaur you can just hold in your hands, and I've held them before. They're very creepy, by the way. But like, yeah, I pet them before. It was like a place in Florida. I think it's called Oceanographic Experience. You can go. It was in West Palm Beach, or near there. But I remember they had like stingrays, not stingray. Well, they had stingrays there with their tails clipped off, so they couldn't, no barbs. They took the barbs out. But they had like all those type of, they had like cucumbers, like sea cucumbers. But they said don't squeeze them or they'll like pop and die basically. But you could like touch the horseshoe crabs, or if you wanted to, you could pick them up and hold them. They wouldn't hurt you. But it was fucking weird. Like I remember they like held it up and it was like just its little tail, and I was like, oh, it was like creepy as hell, man. But you could feed them and stuff. Like it's so weird, dude. It's an interesting thing to do with your kids. So, but it was really cool. And like starfish, you could just like pick them up and like hold them, but they would supervise you, you know, make sure you're not like throwing them across the room or screaming at them or hitting them or anything. So it was like you and an adult with like two other kids, and they would have it and they'd be like, here, you want to touch it? You know, or like, do you want to hold it? And I'm like, oh, what the fuck do I do with this thing? So, but yeah, that's also interesting that you say that, because there is evidence that these species survived even the end of the dinosaurs, right? So kind of cool. Triangle said, fine, you're a 2-year-old again, Magnus. Where are your parents? Clearly, you're a lieutenant, lost lieutenant, yeah. Sure, rar. And then LED said you got to keep them separated. Yep. So that's a Offspring song. Come with me, and you'll be in the world of pure imagination. And then Reneville said sharks, correct. Possums? Really? Gators and birds were around that time of the KT event. If it was a massive burning shockwave, they loved to play, since all life from that time wouldn't have been around. Yeah, I mean, they all survived it. Chicken! Well, if you don't have the Abrams triangle, do the Panzer. I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about tanks. I really don't, unfortunately. I think they're cool. I've been inside of a tank. I've learned how to drive one, like, a little bit, but, like, I wasn't a tanker, so. And I always thought they were cool, but, like, we never hardly ever interacted with tanks, dude. Which is weird. You think we would, but nope. Hardly at all. Hold your breath, make a wish, and count to 3. Magnus said, genuinely, what is up with the horseshoe crabs, bro? Yeah, I know. Why didn't they evolve or just hit the peak evolution and decide not to evolve anymore? I know, right? They're such weird, and they have blue blood, by the way. Because they're not oxygenated the same way as, like, we are, because we're warm-blooded and everything, but, like, they have blue blood, which is, like, alien as fuck, yeah. And their eyes are up top. They do have eyes, by the way. A lot of people think that they don't have eyes. They do have eyes, but they're very rudimentary. They're not the best eyes, but they can see, like, shadows and shit. If you didn't know this, I guess I'm a zoologist now, right? The best pair of eyes within all of the animal and insectoid kingdoms belongs to a shrimp. If you can guess that shrimp, you win again. Can anybody guess what shrimp It is the mantis shrimp. Very good, Reneville. 3 points to Gryffindor. The mantis shrimp. You got it. You got it. Yep. It's the mantis shrimp. And that's the one that can punch. So you guys probably know what that is. And if you didn't know, I looked this up. I like to nerd out sometimes, and I kind of want a mantis shrimp one of these days. There's a guy I followed on YouTube, and he talked about he owned multiple mantis shrimp, and he would feed them, and they would like punch him, right? And if you slow it down, even under the water, they punch so hard it actually causes a little mini like the way it when it connects, that it has so much force, it actually like almost strikes a spark under the water. So pound for pound, they're one of the best punching animals in the kingdom. So, and they are absolute predators, and they have the best eyes in the entire world, including all insects, all birds. The mantis shrimp can see like way more colors than we can. Those fuckers can see in like 8K and 16K and shit. Yeah. I think we could learn from them too. Magnus. Yeah, they're very intelligent as well. They can like build little homes, so they'll take rocks and like build a little cave that they can go into, and they like can go out and they like are able to like sense with their antennas, and then they also have their eyes, and they can tell if prey comes near them. And if prey comes near them, they're very quick to knock it out, and they're able to take on fish that are larger than them. They also kill crustaceans. So one of their primary forms of food is actually crabs. So even if a crab were to go up against it, it would probably win in a fight, because what they do is they pop them, and they'll punch them so hard they literally crack through their armor and like destroy their brain in like a microsecond. But sometimes they go to strike, and if they miss, then the crab might catch them, and if they grab their arm, they could rip them off, or they go for their tail. So yeah, it's very interesting. So, and then once they kill it, they drag it back into their little lair, and they eat it there. And then you'll see, if you look inside of a mantis shrimp's den, you'll just see a bunch of bones in there, dude. Like all the shell from all the fish, and they'll actually scoop it out. So they know to like clean up their area too, which is interesting. So they definitely have some intelligence. And another thing about owning a mantis shrimp, which is kind of funny, the guy who owned it said he needed to upgrade the glass to like bulletproof glass, because those fuckers can actually break the glass inside their aquarium. If they accidentally punch it, they'll actually break the aquarium. And they can't hurt themselves, so they're not invincible. So if they like punch something wrong, they can't hurt their clubs. And once it breaks, like, I think they can grow them back, which is another interesting superpower, because I know crustaceans, they can grow their limbs back, but I'm not 100% on that, but yeah. And then Triangle said intelligence, the fact that a man can stand up and say, I'm going to save a life, that is a superpower. And then Triangle said, not the superpowers you were thinking, where you got lasers and shit like that. Forever Lurk 2 said, Tokyo used a slime mold to design its subway system. What? And he said, apparently a slime mold will grow in the most efficient path possible to gain a food source. That is interesting. I did not know that. So they could use that to map it out, if you will. LED said, oh, I was thinking of Superman. Triangle said, we have superpowers, the people being people. Thanks, superpowers, you have cool lasers, strong invincibility. If you could have a superpower, what would your superpower be? Let's see what the chat comes back with. Let's see what you got. If you could have one superpower, what would it be? I know what mine is. Time travel. But that's just me. All right, these are good. I'm going to start gluing these on here. LED said whatever Shigeru Kai has, so his superpower, huh? Ooh. Superpower of the human being must be its ability to sweat. Forever Lord 2 said. Our ability to sweat. Well, I got a pretty good superpower then. All right, I'm gluing the exhaust pipes on my Rhino. Let me just make sure I have an adequate amount. Just a little dab will do ya. All right, and about to set. Setting. And I just take it and hold it just like that. All right, back to the chat. Magnus said teleportation. I could use teleportation to my local games workshop and grab a set. That would be very helpful too. Yeah, to have the ability to just teleport in and out would be so nice. You could save so much time that way. You really could. You really could. You just better make sure you teleport in the right way. You know, you don't like end up in the middle of a fucking furnace or something. You're like, ah, shit, wrong room. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be a pretty cool superpower though. LED said it's decay. Forever Lurk 2 said dead serious. Heat regulation allows persistence hunting. Yes, humans do have that ability. I think our intelligence is also another, I don't want to say it's superhuman, but it puts us above our competition, and then our thumbs, right? Our ability to like build things with our hands. We're not hitting things with clubs as much, you know, we're able to actually build things and create things. And that's why your hands are so important. Always take care of your hands, people. I am a lot better with my hands now than I was before. When I was young and dumb, I'd be like picking up bricks and all this stupid shit. Now I take a lot more care of my hands. So, very important. Very important. You could do so much with these things, man. And then basically you touch something with all 5 fingers, they decay. Oh, so that's what Shigeru Kai has. Okay. So if he touches something and they just fucking wilt. That's like some Nurgle shit right there. That's like Nurgle's rot. LED, I feel like you'd be a Death Guard player. Persistence says, persistence hunting is such a cool way of hunting. Interesting. Yeah, our ability to just track them, right, is what I'd imagine. Renival said to have key energy. Now, when you say key energy, do you mean like from DBZ and shit? Like everything that comes with that? Magnus said scary, though. Renival said that I could fly, throw energy blast. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. We are super apes. Yeah, dude. I love Dragon Ball Z. The original. I didn't watch any of the new shit. I could care less, but the original DBZ shit, yeah. There's actually a lot of lore and a lot of things behind the scenes that Americans don't know about DBZ, which is fascinating. I could probably spew some of that shit onto you guys too, because I know a lot of useless information. I guess that's one of my superpowers. Useless information. You could tell I'm the kid who used to read National Geographic growing up and watch Discovery Channel. I love the History Channel too, so I would watch a lot of I would watch stupid stuff like Cartoon Network, like fuck yeah, and like DBZ, but I also liked learning things, and like my idea of a good time was going to like a museum. You know, I like learning about things that were, and you know, the world before our world, and like I like learning about, like, you can't tell me knights are not cool. Like, come on, dude. You could not be a kid and not be like, oh yeah, history's lame, dude. And it's like, have you ever seen the Middle Ages? Have you ever seen men kill each other with giant swords? You can't tell me that shit's not fucking dope. Like, come on. If you're a male in any capacity or a female, you cannot say that that shit's not badass and absolutely terrifying and crazy, by the way. that our form of warfare was literally armoring up and then riding out to a field and just killing people with sharp objects. It's like what? Like, that's insane. I mean, even our warfare now of just shooting at each other or blowing each other up, like, holy shit, man. The human capacity for violence is endless, unfortunately. But hey, I play Warhammer, so I can't say I don't like violence, but I don't like violence in person. It's weird to say that. I'm a little bit of a pacifist, just because I've seen what people can do to other humans, and it's horrible. And I think if we put our mind into something productive, we could be a lot more just better as a civilization. You know, we're too busy killing each other, or too busy worrying about all this shit that doesn't matter. If we put our mind to it, we could accomplish a lot more, you know, and actually have flying cars and shit instead of, you know, wherever the fuck we're at right now, debating on if the world is flat or not, you know. It's just a lot of stupid shit going on, and I don't know why we don't leverage the sciences more. And I don't know, the golden path for humanity, as it's called in the Dune universe. I don't know why we're not, I don't know. I think we could do a lot more if we actually tried and stop making animals extinct and shit. That'd be kind of cool. Stop killing each other. Stop over harvesting our resources. You know, put our mind to like trying to figure out how to make infinite energy. Try to figure out how to get off this fucking rock. You know, maybe find another world to colonize or something like that. Like, nah, we're too busy trying to figure out our genders is what. Like, what are we doing, dude? What are we doing? Come on. Too busy arguing over politics and all this stupid shit. And there's so much bigger things to do, man. Triangles is leaving. All right, goodbye, Triangles. All right, sorry you guys got bullied, man. I'm not bullying you, bro. So, I hope you're having a better day. Have a better day tomorrow, okay? But we're not here to bully you. I don't like bullies, by the way. So, I was never a bully, but my mom taught me to make friends with the bully. And I did. My mom would tell me, find the biggest, scariest looking kid and make friends with him. Because he'll be the one that'll be your friend and he'll get your back. And she was right. I'm not the biggest guy around, and I know that. But if you could find the biggest, baddest guy and you go, hey, you want to be friends? You'd be surprised what you can do. So, and just don't be lame around them, right? Don't be a little bitch around them. Rival said, then you could use the Gaelic gun as my move in the Big Bang attack. Interesting. Okay, so you're talking about your superpowers. LED said, who else likes pirates? Oh, I love pirates, by the way. Oh, I love all about pirate history. Like, I'm a big nerd. I love that shit. Go on about it, sister. Please educate, enlighten us, because I don't know a whole lot about pirates. I don't. They're kind of mysterious. I know a decent amount, but there's so much about seafaring and like the history of naval. I mean, just the fact that people would literally get in boats and sail for months using stars and shit and the sun to like fucking land somewhere else and get there safely, or like have to deal with the sea and hurricanes, and like they didn't have any idea what that shit was back then. They didn't know what the fuck a hurricane, you know, maybe later on they figured it out, but like they would just be sailing one day, la-di-da, the next day they'd be like, huh, it's kind of weird looking around here. I wonder what's going on. And then all of a sudden it's a giant fucking just, or like a tsunami wave. Like, could you imagine that shit? Like, holy shit, man. Yeah, those were some badass humans, man. Like the ancient Greeks. Oh my God, man. So much about history that's just awesome. Magnus said knights are so fucking badass, especially the Knight Hospitaller. Yep, those are my favorites too, man. The Templar, that kind of stuff, like the Crusader Knights. Oh, absolutely, man. I love all of that. I know a lot about Crusades as well because I've researched it a lot. Yeah, I love that time period as well. It's so fucking cool. Yeah. Yeah. So like you can't tell me you don't like history. Come on. I mean, maybe there's some people like my wife, she does not give a fuck about history at all. She does not care. I'll tell her about stuff and be like, "Isn't that so cool?" She'll go, "Okay." Like she doesn't really care about history, but I'm a huge history nerd, so and Forever Lurk 2 said some pirates were cool. Others, not so much, yeah. LED said, I love pirates. Yeah, pirates are really cool. I agree. And Reneville said, can't happen, sadly. There's always someone to say, that guy over there has something shiny. I want that shiny. Yeah, exactly, dude. Why can't we just get along and just fucking solve shit and, like, actually use our brains for good? We're too busy fucking each other over and stealing things and, like, all these things that shouldn't even be a problem. They should be, you know, like, why have we not reached that level of civilization yet? You know, it's cooler to drop out of school and be stupid and try to be a rapper than, like, you know, try to get into, you know, the sciences or actually use your brain for good. You know, it's just all this stupidity. I'm not saying like you can't be a rapper, like people make it, but I'm just saying, like, of course, who the fuck am I, right? You know, why aren't I using my brains for good? Why am I not using my talents for good, right? Well, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of talents. I really don't. I've tried a lot of things, and I did get my degree in cybersecurity and network engineering. Doesn't mean I'm very good at it, by the way. So just because I know a lot about that doesn't mean I'm good at it. You know, I tried applying and, like, yeah, just coding and programming just doesn't make any sense to me. Never did. I understand, like, programming. I understand, like, what it is, how it works, and, like, but when you start talking about all the math that goes into it and, like, creating algorithms and, like, you start talking about, like, that shit, I have no idea how that shit works. That to me is magic. But there are kids that I've met that are so intelligent, they're so smart, and they are using their brains for good. You know, like, people like that are very intelligent, they're like, oh, you're a smart guy, come here, we could use you. You know, they're going to go off and do great things. But unfortunately for me, I was like a B, high C, you know, a bunch of A's, but a lot of the bullshit classes, you know. But when it got into, like, the real technical classes, man, I was struggling, unfortunately, you know. So, like, even though I passed, even though I got my degree, yada, 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 and I did work at a data center for 2 years, doesn't mean I was good at it. I'm not really good at a whole lot, unfortunately. But, you know, I can paint these little things pretty good. I wish I was good at stuff, you know, and I'm trying to build my channel and, you know, meet people and, you know, make friends, and I'd like to get better at painting. I want to, like, war game. I really like that. I like strategy. You know, I'm not like a super competitive person, but I do have that in my blood. But, like, you know, I'm in it for the fun too, and I love the lore, and I love everything about 40K, man, and Horus Heresy and all that shit. You know, like, I love that. So this appeals to me. This hobby appeals to me a lot. And if you're also in this hobby, you probably have many reasons why you love it too. You know, and Games Workshop isn't perfect. I know that, and, like, you know, nothing's perfect, but I feel like it's a good hobby to get into, and it is social. And it's just cool. It's just a cool fucking hobby. I love it. So, but let's see here. Back to our chat. Humanity will unite when aliens threaten to take us out. Yeah, pretty much. our space racism is what will bring us together. That's why we need aliens to fucking invade, damn it. Can we just get it over with? Just show yourselves, and stop covering it up. You know, or like, here, this is even crazier. You want to talk about how crazy the human race is? You want to hear how crazy this shit is? All these people have been asking about UFOs from the government for decades. Decades. They release a whole bunch of shit about UFOs, okay? And now they go under UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon, right? They released that shit to the public, and we're still too busy talking about what skin color we have. We're so focused on racist stuff, we're focused on woke stuff, we're focused on, you know, what gender we are. We're too busy talking about who got into presidency and how they got into presidency. We're too busy talking about fucking going to war and all these just stupid things. And I'm like, did everybody just see that the government just released shit that they don't understand, and they provided video proof that they exist? Anybody? We're still too busy killing each other and fighting over fucking who got a bigger TV at the fucking Walmart. Maybe we are doomed. I don't know. Like, I get it. Like, we're never going to progress as a civilization if we don't solve these little petty issues. But I'm like, man, can we just unite and just talk about how crazy it is that they just released a bunch of shit from the government saying we don't know what these are? Anybody? I know there was a bunch of hearings on it, and like, it did hit the news, but like at the same time, it was just like another thing in the news cycle. Everyone's too focused on Ukraine and what's going on over there, and I get that. That's a problem. And like now Israel and all their shit going on, and oh my God, Trump is president, and I'm just like, did y'all not see that shit about UFOs? And like, the government used to never show that, and now all of a sudden they're just like showing it, and they're like, we don't know what these are. Anyone? No? All right, well, that's cool. So, if Roar is bullying crap, our future is bleak. Yeah, for real, Forever Lurk too. I mean, he did kind of get bullied out a little bit. I think he's just having a bad day. I think Triangles was just having a bad day. We all have bad days. LED, remember you were having a bad day? You know you were having a bad day, and you weren't really up for it, you know? And then you left. You left the chat. You gotta remember that. Like, I have bad days too. You know, if I'm having a bad day or if I'm sick or something, I'm not going to go live because I don't want to. But sometimes I'm having a bad day and I go live and I feel a lot better from it. So just know that, you know, sometimes you guys actually bring me up and I appreciate it. You know, I don't feel as alone. I don't feel as isolated. So sometimes when I go live, it's not just for you, but it's also for me. it's kind of an escapism. I'm just glad to have other people in my life, and even though I don't know you in person, it's just good to like see you on here, you know? It's good to see my friends. Even if we're all from different backgrounds, we're from different states, we all have different experiences. Some of them might be similar, you know, but we're all here for one reason. You know, we're all here on this channel for one reason. And I think it's like we kind of just get along, and even though LED probably doesn't give a shit about 40K. She just likes to hang out. You know, she feels welcomed here, which you are welcome here, LED. So, and if someone else is in this community and they feel like they're getting bullied, I mean, to Forever Lurk's like credit, he said like, I don't think Roar is really bullying. But, you know, if someone's having a bad day and they're asking you to stop and they're just like, you know, leave me alone, like, it's a soft form of bullying. You know what I mean? So that's all. I'm not saying you guys did anything super wrong. I did ask you to stop. But it's just like, yeah, you could probably get over it. you know, or just laugh it off and go, okay, whatever. But maybe he's just having a really bad day, you know, and he just wanted to come on here and hang out. And, you know, he just, I don't know. You never know what's going on in other people's lives. So, but we can all have fun. You know, I'm not like super worried about it, but I hope Triangles is okay. And I hope maybe he's just been under a lot of stress lately. He did tell me he's been going, he's been doing a lot of late night posts on YouTube. So getting sleep deprived, I can tell you with 100% accuracy, if you're sleep deprived, even if it's like 3 days, you're going to turn to a bear and you're going to be snippy about everything and everyone. I would know because I get that. I get sleep deprivation quite a bit. So it's an unfortunate real side effect that comes with sleep deprivation. So, all right. Reneville said, we have small parts of humanity that is on the higher tier, and the majority of humanity is way behind. If you look at pictures of the Earth at night, you will see a lot of black spots with no development. No, 100%, dude. And it's like, why are they not developed? You know, like Africa has been around for, like, the African people have been around for what, hundreds, fucking thousands of years, however long humanity has existed. Like, they say that the Fertile Crescent was in the Middle East and in Africa. We all came from Africa, right? Everybody, the humans, when we evolved, we walked over ice caps and shit, and we spread out, and that's how we fucking became what we are. Okay, so based off that logic, the African people should be like living in freaking what do you call it? What's with the Black Panther or whatever? Wakanda. They should be living like Wakanda right now, man. Like, where's that universe? You know, they're so fucking far advanced in civilization that we can't even see them because they have like a huge city that is unseen by the human eye or whatever, you know? So, I mean, there's a book that goes over all of the explanations behind that, and a lot of people say it's racist. I think there is merit to it in a science-based way. Why did Europeans evolve better with technology than other civilizations? You know, why is it when the Spaniards went to Mexico and they basically took over the entire, I mean, they killed thousands of natives, unfortunately, right? Like, really fucking sad, like the Mayans and the Aztecs, and a lot of them died to smallpox and diseases, unfortunately. But like, when we showed up, we had horses. We literally terrified the natives because they'd never seen horses before. So when they showed up off the ships with like their fucking steel armor on and like their loud powder guns, because they had guns, and swords, they were like, what the fuck? They thought they were gods. And their white complexion, because Spanish people, like from Spain, have white skin. They're not like darker skinned, right? So when they saw them, they literally thought they were gods. They're like, what are these things? That's why they were able to go into the city when they first came to like Mexico City or whatever, and they let them in, was because they were like, oh my gosh, these people they must be gods, you know, who else? And they were able to basically take over what was the main capital of the Aztecs in like a week. Even though there were thousands and thousands of the people that have been settled there, it was like a couple Spaniards were basically able to, they took the king, they held him hostage, and they were able to basically like hold out against thousands and thousands of Aztec warriors because they were smarter. They had tactics, and even though they didn't have enough gunpowder to kill everybody, they didn't need to, you know? I mean, they still fought and all that, and there's crazy stories abound about it. I'm not saying it's right, by the way. I'm not saying Cortez was right. I think he was a really terrible person. But it did happen. It's a part of history, unfortunately, and things could, I mean, who knows? Like, what if the Aztecs were never touched by the Spanish? What if nobody found it, would they be like a massive civilization with their own technology and black powder, and they would have, you know, steel and iron works and like skyscrapers? Unfortunately, we'll never know, right? But, you know, by the time the Spaniards even got there, they're like, where are we? Like, they thought they were like, we're in a totally different, it's completely different. Like, they didn't have like the same infrastructure, and like, you know, it's like an alien civilization you come across, you know, and like, imagine that, like how crazy that would be. So another part of history that's just fascinating to me. LED said, does everyone have a brain? Forever Alert 2 said the Army didn't issue me one. Yeah. The Marine Corps, they delete your brain. They give you the lobotomy. Semper Fi lobotomy. Reneville said, I saw that, and knowing our government, they had a different hearing to pass on some horrible bills that will screw the majority of us. Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah, it's like they released all this shit about UFOs, and some people are saying it's a distraction, right? Like, sure. But like, either way, they just released a bunch of stuff. Like, people back in the 1950s were obsessed with aliens and UFO all up to the 80s to the 90s. Like, people were trying to get the government to even say that UFOs exist, just to even acknowledge it. And they wouldn't acknowledge it. And then, don't you know it, within our lifetime, they're like, you know what? Fuck it, just release the files. They're not going to care anyway. Some people will freak out, but like, the world isn't going to end. There wasn't panic in the streets. You know what I mean? Like, life just goes on. They could release that God is real, and most people, even if people saw God, let's just say, for example, Jesus comes down, millions of people see him, they record him with their phones, all this shit. I guarantee you there would be the other half of humanity to say that wasn't real, that was AI, that's not real, it's not true. And no matter what the other side says, they're not going to believe it until they see it with their own eyes. You know, everyone's a skeptic. But then AI is like, I don't know, man, I'm not going to talk too much about that. But yeah, AI is terrifying, by the way. And then Forever Alert 2 said, me too, I got yelled at for drinking the juice before all the pickles are gone. Magnus said, I like pickles, but not that much. That's kind of psychotic. Forever Alert 2 said, I never have bad days. Bad days sometimes have me. And then Forever Alert 2 said, I live in Texas during the hot months. Pickle juice is great for rehydrating and stopping cramps. Yep, that is correct, Magnus. Yes, they are. It is good for, pickle juice is good for you. I've drank it before too, so it kind of tastes good. I don't drink it like hardcore, but I have drank it before. Forever Alert 2 said they would still be chopping off heads atop their secondhand monuments, which they didn't build. That's a good point too, actually, Forever Alert 2. You are correct. The Aztecs did not even build the monuments that they found. They came across it and were like, oh, we obviously, you know, whatever people were there, they kicked them out or brought them into the fold. But the Aztecs, they don't even know who built the fucking pyramids there. Can you just conceptualize that for a second? We don't even know who built that shit. What ancient civilization before the Aztecs built that shit? But the Aztecs were still, you know, they were building stuff too and trying to replicate it. But like, yeah, sacrificing people, like, that's definitely a fucking thing that they did. I have been to Chichen Itza. I have been there. I have touched it. It is real. Okay? So, like, that's the Mayans, right? Those are the ancient Mayans and shit. But, like, the Aztecs, I've never been to Tenochtitlan, I think it says. I think Tenochtitlan, but that's the massive. That makes the Mayans look like nothing, bro. Which is sad, but it makes the Mayans look like nothing. I've also been to Peru, and I have been on top of Machu Picchu, and I've wandered through Machu Picchu. So I have seen it with my own eyes. It does exist. I have touched it. Everything. It's the real thing. So, but like, the Aztec civilization didn't even build that shit, bro. Who the fuck built that? Crazy, right? And there's a bunch of stuff that hasn't even been fully discovered yet, by the way. Still in the rainforest. There's shit in Mexico City. They'll build and they'll find ruins and they'll have to stop. You know, it's like Rome, you know, like ancient Rome. Like, I've been to Rome. I've been inside the Colosseum. I've touched the Colosseum. It is real. It's fucking cool. I went there at night. It was a night tour. So I've seen a couple of the 7 wonders of the world. I haven't seen the pyramids yet. I would love to go to Land of the Kings and walk through that. But I've heard horror stories from people going there before. Unfortunately, the Egyptian government is, they're kind of assholes there. So... Reneville said smaller distances help in Europe of travel between the many nations there, so information was able to travel around a lot faster among Europe, which kicked off the Renaissance. True, true. Reneville said someone would say it was a deep fake or AI made. Exactly, dude, yeah. Like, literally, if Jesus were to come through the clouds with all the angels and all these people saw it, like, they're like, I fucking know God is real. They all go to their knees. Some of them pull out their phone and they're like, holy shit, I got to get this on camera. There's no way. Like, this is wild. So many people would still deny it. So many people. Even if, like, a dinosaur, there was a fucking dinosaur that were to come out of the fucking ground. We found the fucking cave that goes down and there's dinosaurs and shit. Man, people would just be like, yeah, it's fake news. It's not real. Until, like, CNN or something, or like BBC covers it, and they're like, oh, all right, maybe it's real. All right. But then there would be theories about it, you know, it'd be fucking crazy. And no one would focus on the fact that, like, holy shit, there's a fucking dinosaur that we thought was extinct, and the fucker's still alive somewhere in Vietnam or something. I don't know. Yeah. Crazy. Magnus said I gotta hop off in a few, getting tired and gotta get up early. Oh, that's fine, Magnus. That's cool, man. Thank you very much for stopping by, as always, my friend. Absolutely. Stay a few more minutes, 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm probably going to be calling this pretty soon here. Foreverlurk2 said, wrap your head around this one. Cleopatra was closer to owning a smartphone than she was to build the pyramids. Wow. Yeah. And the Sphinx, if you want to talk about the Sphinx, by the way, the Sphinx is older than the pyramids. Who built the Sphinx? Nobody knows. Why was it built? Nobody knows. And that is a very crazy fact for Everlurk2. Yeah. Cleopatra was closer, like, that's how long the Egyptians have existed for. Just Egypt in general, as we understand it with the pyramids and all that crazy shit. She would have been closer to owning a smartphone than ever having built or been alive during the building of the pyramids. That's fucking crazy, dude. I cannot wrap my head around that. Legitimately, because she was there with the ancient Greeks and shit. Which the ancient Greeks, holy shit, you want to talk about history. They go way back, too. Way, way back. We're talking BC. Or BCE, I'm sorry. Before current era. I learned that in the archaeology class I took. Magnus said I heard that one a lot. Still wild every time I hear it. Yeah, that's fucking crazy, dude. Reneville said the Great Pyramid in Mexico, they didn't even know they didn't even know it was there. A Spaniard figured it wasn't a giant hill and unearthed it. No shit. That's fucking wild too. Yeah, so the Great Pyramid in Mexico, which I would highly recommend everybody look at that thing on Google. It is absolutely massive. I've never seen videos of anybody inside of it. I don't know. I should really look into that, but like that thing is so fucking big and so cool, and it's still not fully understood, which is crazy. Hey, Glizzyman Gaming, welcome back, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, look at you. And then Magnus said, dude, history and archaeology is fucking wild. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's fucking wild, man. It's such a cool... Thank you, Magnus. That was really funny. Oh, Glizzy Man Gaming is not a bot. He's like a young kid. He's like 12 or something. Get vaporized before me, Clanker. That's funny, though. That's funny. He's not a Clanker. He's just like a little kid, but it's fine. It's fine. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, Glizzy Man Gaming. You got vaporized, dude. Yeah, we have a very low tolerance for spamming and bots, so... Aw, poor guy. And Trulio Aurelio said, what about Zoidbergs 2 and the Sigmoid invasion? What is that? Where is this coming from? Forever Lurk 2 said, whack. I think Magnus should be required to utter some form of old Batman comic when he times out. Yeah. That's funny. It's okay, Magnus. It's fine. He probably already left anyway. He only pops in for like 2 seconds. Yeah, you should look up some old Batman quips and stuff. That's funny. All right, so I got all the exhausts on here. The thing that fell off was just something I don't know what this is to yet, but I got all the exhausts on here, so all 4. I'm still deciding on what I want to do with the top. I want to see if there's a way to hinge it. That'd be kind of cool, so I could actually like open it. But it looks like it just glues in place, which is kind of lame. So unfortunately, I wish it had a way to open and close it. That'd be kind of dope, but I don't see one. So, but either way, I will be calling this gentleman. I know Ellie dropped off. She's not in here anymore, so I wish. Magnus said I should. I don't even know what Antarillo... I don't even know what he's talking about. I'm sorry. I do know I have this under a sci-fi setting as well, but I'm not familiar with those universes. We are in 40K, my friend. Magnus said gonna watch that again when the live comes out as a video. And then Reneville said, do you have a hand drill? Can always make your own hinges. I do have this. It's not... I want tinier ones, though. I want smaller ones. I would love to make hinges. I could technically, even with like little, like maybe some metal that I could push through here and then melt it on the top. And I should be able to have it like, I would love a little hinge system on here. Oh, okay. You can always make your own hinges, just straighten out a paper clip. Oh, okay. That's a good idea. Yeah, I could probably do that and just have it go into the... I could probably figure that out. Yeah, that's a good idea. And just put... Or... Yeah, because I would have to do it through... Like yeah. I'm going to have to do that. Hit up your local pawn shops and look for a used Dremel. Crackheads sell those all the time. That's a good idea. And then Reneville said remove the rubber on the paper clip. On the side. Oh, yeah, so remove the outside, like, coating or whatever. Huh. Yeah, I'd like to have hinges on this. That'd be really cool. Because I want to be able to use this for storage. I know I have the back that comes down, you know, but, like, I want to have a way to, like... Gosh dang it. I would like this to open up, and then I could, like, reach in and grab stuff, so... I mean, I was thinking about maybe putting some dice in here, or I'm going to use it for something when I'm transporting stuff. I mean, I could throw, like, a Space Marine, I guess, in here, but I'd rather, like, put something else in here. And I'm not going to paint the inside, I've decided. I'm just going to keep it plain gray. I know it's kind of lame, but, like, it's got enough detail as it is, like, with the doors closed. I really don't think it's necessary, so I'm not going to paint the inside. I know some people do, and it looks really cool, but I don't know. I don't really care, which is weird. Like, that's not like me, but I don't know. I just don't have a desire to paint the inside that much. Like, I know it would look really good, but I mean, if it's dark, like, it already looks decent. The only thing I would do would be, like, add some glowing effects on the little screen or something, and that's about it. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Thanks, guys. Yeah, remove the rubber on the paper. I'll try that. Yeah, and I'll see if I'll look up videos too. Unless if you have a video on how to do it. I haven't tried it yet, but I would like to. I would like to have these moving. I think that'd be really cool. Or I can build something like a different part, and then just like glue it on top, and it'll function like a hinge system. So I think that'd be really cool. I'd like to do that. So what I might do is I might just put it on here and I'll just spray paint it anyway. Well, no, I'd rather get the hinges on there first so I can open and close it. So maybe I'll look into ways to do that. But I'm not going to prime this for a little while because I'm going to add a bunch of spikes and skulls. You know, I'm making it look all chaotic look, and I want a plow in the front. It comes with like the spikes for brush guard stuff, but I kind of want like something more mean looking, or a double plow system, or like I want like fucking a bunch of chain axes or something in the front. Like on the sides, it's just fucking plowing motherfuckers down. Like how badass would that look? So I have some extra chain swords and stuff like that. I want to make it like a zombie fucking tank, you know what I mean? Like something badass for the 40K universe and, you know, all that good stuff. So that's the plan. But we shall see. Yeah, dude, make a plow with teeth on it. Yes. Oh, okay. And then Reneville said also airbrush the inside of it, and then you can use green stuff to mold your own hinges. That's a good idea. And then like put the paper clip through it, because I only need them to be, you know, or I could even use this spare stuff, you know, like sprue. I could probably shape it into some sort of a hinge and then use like a metal clip so that way it goes, like I'll have to shape it out and everything. That's going to take a lot of work, but I think it'd be really cool. It'd be really cool if I could do that. And then I could just pop it open and then I can store stuff inside of it. You know, like I was thinking dice or I don't know. We'll see. So might as well use it. It's kind of, I don't know why GW doesn't allow you to have hinges already. So that'd be kind of dope. But I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Yeah, I think a plow with teeth on it would be sick. Like chainsword teeth or something. Yeah, that's the kind of 40K shit I want, with like spikes sticking straight out and it like plows into you and just gets shredded by it. Like that'd be so fucking cool. Or I could put like some drills on the front or something. I could probably figure that out. Just something maniacal. Just absolutely crazy, like a wood chipper or something, you know what I mean? Nah, but a plow with rad-looking teeth and spikes on it from the bottom. Yeah, dude. That's what I want. I might even make that. I could probably design it. I don't even need a 3D printer. I could probably figure it the fuck out. Or a roller with spikes. Yes. Yes. I can get it off the fetid bloat drone or whatever with the fucking mower on the front and just put that on front, dude. So fucking metal. Yeah, a wood chipper would be fucking wild. Yeah. Like some sort of like a wood chipper and then like a hose that just goes all the way to the back and it just spews out blood or something. Or a wood chipper that redirects the blood and it spews out to the front. So there's just blood everywhere. Yeah, a wood chipper with teeth. Yes. That's what I want. I might take the bloat drone, the mower with the mower, I'm going to put it inside of a case and it'll come out like a fucking wood chipper of death. And on the inside, it'll have the little spikes and shit. And it'll just be like with teeth on the outside, very chaotic looking. And it'll just be in the front. Like, that'll be so fucking metal. That sounds like so much fun. Oh, wood chipper with teeth. Use a toilet paper roll there? Yeah, I could. A small one, though, because this is tiny. I'd have to use something small, like a little PVC or something. Yeah, dude. With razor wire wrapped up. Fuck yeah, dude. A roller with spikes and bits. Yes. Yes, exactly. Add some harpoons on top. Yes. Oh, to reel people in. So they're up here and they're like shooting it out and they're just like, come here. Oh, yes. Now we're talking. Thank you for these ideas, gentlemen. I would not have thought of that. I was thinking about a plow, and then I was like, but a wood chipper or like some sort of a shredding device, and then like harpoons on top with flamers. Like that's so 40K. That's so 40K. And then the blood, like the wood chip just sprays the body blood all over the place, so it's like covered in blood and gore. Yeah, that's my kind of jam. That's very corn, but Black Legion will do it too. They don't care. It's all about psychological warfare, so. But it's like, how do you scare Space Marines that don't have fear? They don't fear things like we do. But the humans, absolutely terrified. As I would be if I was in the fucking, if I was in the Imperial Guard, I'd be shitting my fucking pants. Like, I could be a badass if I need to be, but if I see a fucking, you know, a Tyranid fucking bioswarm fucking belch a bunch of acid out and it just melts a bunch of guardsmen, I'd be like, all right. For the Emperor, I guess. Yes, exactly. Make it spew out blood to the front as a compressed liquid to tear enemies apart. Yes. I love it. Not being loved by the Emperor would scare the Space Marines. Yeah. The thought of abandonment. The thought of, like, the Emperor doesn't love me or it's all a lie. Like, that. Yes. And Magnus said, you know, the Hades drill used by the Krieg? No, I'm not familiar. That kind of thing attached to the front drill through humans and tear. Ooh, I'm going to screenshot that. That's dope. Okay, I'm going to look that up, man. The Hades drill. That just, the hell drill is basically what it means. That's what Hades, it's Greek. Yeah, I'm going to look that up. That's fucking dope, dude. Thank you. Thank you for the evil suggestions. I like 40K, I like the Grimdark, and hey, if I can make it look even more Grimdark, I'm going to try. So, that'll be fun. I'll see what I can do with that. So, either way, it's playable. So, I'll send you a picture that, okay, I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, I'll look for that. And then Red Devil said, could use some Killacan saw arms to put on the sides of it. Yes. Oh my god, yes. Just like on the side, like horizontal, just like, so if anyone tries to run up on it, they just get fucking just diced. Or on the front of the plow, you know what I mean? Because anybody who gets out of this thing, I don't want them to get, you know, zapped by the drills. But if I could put it in the front somehow and like have it a little bit wider, then it like moves, and while this is moving, the guys are from behind it supporting it with fire. Yeah, that'd be pretty dope. I'm liking these ideas. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Fuck yeah. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, those Killacan saws are, I know exactly what you're talking about. Those are awesome looking. Yeah, I like those a lot. That would look pretty good on here, because I could kit bash it. I could find them online. Like, people just sell those on eBay. Or I'll look, Nose Attic out of Texas. I buy from them. They sell little bits and stuff. So if you ever want, like, spare whatever, I'll see what they got. They probably have a lot of that. And I always get discounts from them just because I buy from them quite often. So I always have, like, 25% off your card or whatever, like, your future visit. So highly recommend Nose Attic down in Texas. So they're awesome. You can find them on Etsy. They have their own website too. I put a short about them, but I would highly recommend them. I want to talk to them and see if they'll maybe sponsor me or allow me to plug them in or something, but they're really cool. So, yeah, please, yeah, I'll look for that photo, Magnus. Thank you, sir. And then, yeah, other than that, it's almost 170 minutes, so I think it's a good time to draw down. I think it's a good time to draw down. I've been live for a while, and I'll be live on Wednesday, everybody. So you'll see me per the usual 8 p.m. CST. I'll probably be working on other stuff. I'll be working on, I got more gray I got to slay. So you'll see. I'll put shorts out. Also, I got some new magnets that just came in too today. So finally got some new magnets. I can use these to base stuff. So I bought them. I can only find them at a couple places online. So neodymium, iron, boron, rare earth magnets. So I got them from Noble Knight. I think they're out of like Ohio or something. They're okay. The prices are all right. It's just their inventory is what I like the most. So, and I got it for a decent price. I think there was like $16 each or something. But always good to have a bunch of these on hand. And I like the cases they come in too. That's actually kind of nice. Ooh. And then Forever Lurk 2 said, I've seen people glue a thin twine where the weld lines might be, then paint it. Oh, interesting. Good to know. And then Magnus said it's a wild-looking drill. There's another even larger drill used by the Krieg. The Hades is used by the Krieg combat engineers. Oh, that's badass, dude. Probably for digging their trench systems, no doubt, or like undermining operations, so good to know. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Thanks for the inspiration. I'd like to make it come to life and see it like on the Rhino. I think that'd be really cool. And then Reneville said, all you might be missing is put some guardsmen on the spikes. Yes. And skeletons chained onto the Rhino. Absolutely. I love that. I will make that possible. It's going to have to be scaled down, though, a little bit, just because it's a little bit smaller than it should be. Like, this thing should be, like, twice as big, in my opinion, if not 3 times as big in reality, to be actually scaled to, like, where it should be. It's kind of tiny, but I'll see if I can find smaller, like, you know, bodies and, like, guardsman stuff, because there's always scale modeling. I can find that shit, but that would look so raw. Yeah, I would love to do that. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, it was a good stream. I appreciate it, everyone. Yep. All that needs to happen. I'm going to make this thing diabolical. Not too chaosy, not like too warpy with tentacles and shit, but like just the right amount. Yep. Yeah, it's going to be one monster Rhino. Yes, it will. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. Thank you guys for that. I appreciate it. Because I was just going to do like a plow or like something like that. But no, I'd rather make it more... Let's make it 40K appropriate. Very grimdark. So thank you guys. Cheers to that. Other than that, I will be calling this a night. This was a great stream. Thank you to all my friends for popping on. Forever Lurk 2, Magnus, of course, Reneville. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us tonight. I had a really good time. Neo, he was here for a little bit too. So thank you for joining us. LED as always. Triangles, thanks for stopping by too, man, and hanging out with us and shooting the shit. Talking about a lot more big brain stuff like archaeology and history and dinosaurs. Like we kind of went off on a tangent, but that's okay. I love this stuff, so I'm glad I get to nerd out with you guys. So I know more than just 40K, but yeah, massive love. Massive love. Thank you guys so much for just hanging out and being great friends. It makes my night better, and I hope I was able to make your night better too. So other than that, that's all I got. Until the next time, you'll see me on Wednesday. So this coming Wednesday, 8 p.m. CST per usual. If you want to join the Discord, if you haven't joined it already, just let me know. If you want to just put your Discord in the chat, and I'll be able to add you. If not, then we can also on Wednesday we can talk then, and if you want to put your in there and join the Discord, you absolutely can. And then Magnus said we should plan for the collaboration tomorrow, so there you go. Awesome. Very cool. But thank you, everybody. If I have any new subscribers, I really appreciate that. I'm trying to get to 500, so please help me out. And then also regarding Magnus, he did ask, when's the video with WC coming out? Just curious, getting excited. Yeah, I'm going to have that before the end of this week. No problem. I'm going to have it before the end of this week. I'm going to work on it tomorrow. And then Wednesday I go live. And then probably Thursday. If anything, by Thursday it'll be posted, bro. Because Friday is when we leave. So we fly out of town on Friday. So we're getting on the plane and skedoodling out of here. So... yeah, we can start planning it tomorrow, man. Yeah, you and me, we'll I'll go on Discord and we can kind of chat a little bit, and then we'll figure out our topic, and then we'll figure out our timing, like when we're gonna do it, and then how we're gonna do it, and then I try to keep it to like an hour, so that's pretty good for like a usual video. So, and we could definitely talk more even before that. So, and we do like a technology check, and I make sure like everything's working, like audio, visual. It's kind of tough, but yeah, we can start talking about it tomorrow, bro. No problem. Awesome. But that's all I got. This is Travis with the ChaoticCrafterZero. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with me. Getting a little bit closer to getting the Rhino done, and I got some great things to look forward to. Yep, anytime after 3 p.m. Okay, good to know. Good to know. All right, Magnus. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Take care. That's all I got. Until the next time. Bye.